All right, and welcome back, everybody, to episode, I believe, 6 now of Kino discussion, maybe even episode 7. And today we have our first guest on the podcast. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Braxton, and I am so excited to be here today on the Kino Discussion Podcast. What an honor.
Yep.
Glad to have you here, man.
Thank you.
We're spreading all over the internet, man.
We're
over.
making it big. It's really happening.
Did you see episode 5?
I actually did not get to catch
4?
episode 5 just yet. Dare I call myself
No,
a
it's okay.
fake
We
fan?
blew up on the internet.
Yep.
That's what I heard. I
Yeah,
did
we're
hear that
making
y'all
it big.
blew up. It was a big deal.
Well,
We're making it up there.
Making it up there, making it big.
started
big
from the bottom,
things
now we're
happen.
here.
It's true.
We coming for you, Joe Rogan.
Oh, it's
We're
damn
coming for
true,
you.
Joe Rogan. You better watch yourself. Kino Discussion
Shaking in his
coming up
boots.
there.
But we got a lot to talk about this episode, and I think we're gonna start it off nice and simple with well, I guess I'll let everybody know about the recommendations from last episode for those of you who didn't catch it. The recommendations are The Wrong Trousers, the Wallace and Gromit short film, Vengeance Most Fowl, the newest Netflix film, Life of Pi, and The Holy Mountain. So we're going to be talking about them in that order, so if you want to avoid spoilers, skip around. But let's begin with The Wrong Trousers, because I think that's probably the one we have the least amount to say, because it's the shortest of the bunch.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
I'll take it away since this is my recommendation. So, The Wrong Trousers is the story of Wallace and Gromit. And for Gromit's birthday, Wallace gets him a pair of trousers that are cybernetic enhanced, and they do like self-walking and things like that. And because of this, Wallace is low on funds, so he has to rent out a bit of his house. And a penguin shows up by the name of Feathers McGraw, and he
The coldest dude ever.
he's got a lot of aura, and he basically starts to take over the Wallace and Gromit household, and turns Wallace and Gromit against each other, and Gromit leaves because he thinks that Wallace doesn't care about him anymore. And turns out Feathers McGraw has a crazy plan to steal the diamond in a diamond heist. And yeah, I mean, that's basically the plot of the short film. It's only like 30 minutes, so there's not too much.
When Feathers McGraw pulled the gun out, I thought it was funny.
All right, straight into spoilers. Okay.
Well, I mean, he does pull the gun out. This does happen in the movie.
I mean,
You know.
yeah.
One could say we need to talk about it. I think it's a pretty key part of the film. You know,
It's
the
true.
30-minute short film.
Is that
Yeah.
is
Dare
that
I
straight
call
to
it?
spoilers?
I would consider it a spoiler because I think it's the best gag in the film.
Oh.
I wouldn't spoil it
Well,
for
I would
anybody.
actually. I think this is where our first discourse is going to happen because I would actually disagree with that. I think there are quite a few gags in the film.
It's over. You're off
I
the
think-
podcast.
Oh, I can't believe it. Kicked off less than
Episode
10
ain't even
minutes
start
in.
yet.
Dude. What can I say in here? What's the can I say
You can say anything, man.
oh, okay, well let man, I can't believe I got kicked off the fucking podcast. This is utter embarrassment. I am utterly ashamed. I just oh my god. Let all my supporters down. Sorry guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't do the Karate Kid joke like I did last episode.
Oh.
No impersonations of other cultures.
No
Yeah,
impersonations
yeah.
allowed. I think I can follow that one.
It was just too much.
Yeah, that one'll.
I think that's why the view count was low.
Blane's gonna have to hold himself back for Life of Pi. I know he had a few jokes.
Shut up! That's not true.
But yeah, back to what this episode's about. Wrong Trousers. What were you saying about you think there's more? There's a
I
lot
just
more
think,
scenes.
in
you
all
think are
honesty,
better.
less so. I mean, jokes aside, I just think that it's such a great short film. I think that Studio Aardman just makes these so well. I think their understanding of just basic comedy, but in such a way that it's still like, I don't know, it keeps it fresh, you know? And I feel like this is a classic, right? Almost everybody's seen The Wrong Trousers at some point in time, or you've seen a Studio Aardman before. You may not realize it, but you definitely have. And I just think that they're just so good at making bits throughout the entire thing. Like, for example, like the fact that when he goes to jail, it's just a zoo, like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, I love that, man. I think there's a bit of like whimsicality, and that they never take themselves too seriously. Their bits are very on the nose, kind of like on the cheek, but it's in that perfect manner to where it's never obnoxious, it's never forced. It's just the perfect form of comedy.
I 100% agree. And I also think they get action down really well, because I think the chase scene at the end of this is unironically one of the best action scenes in an animated film. Like the whole train sequence at the end. It's every time I watch it, I just think about, how is it even possible that they made this? Like,
what year was it made?
I want to say 88, around there.
I'll look it up right now.
That's
it's actually
impressive.
93, but still, 93. That is very impressive.
Yeah,
and it's
That's pretty.
I'm glad you mentioned the train scene, because that was slipping my mind. But the entire time rewatching it, because I rewatched it earlier this week, and the entire time I was thinking, like, wow, how did they do this in stop motion? Like, how did they capture this so well and so seamlessly, like, with that train scene? And I know it's just like such a small portion of it, but I think it just goes to show the dedication and the love that they have for producing these.
Yeah, that's like a 3-minute sequence, and that probably was, I'm going to bet, a majority of the budget and time was probably spent on that one scene. I'm willing to bet.
I liked how in this one you could see like the small little like imperfections on the characters from when they were like tweaking them, and kind of like the newer one, the one that's we're gonna talk about
next
later. It's just
it's a lot smoother.
They perfected their craft in a way.
Yeah, I do think I like the imperfections, so I think it gives it a lot of character.
Yeah,
I think it gives it a lot of charm, and I think there's something that we should say about Studio Aardman's use of color throughout their films. Like, everything is so colorful and it pops just right. The use of color and like capturing each scene really lets the characters pop, the gags pop. Like you said, the little imperfections give it a lot of personality, and you can just feel the love for animation oozing from the film. Like, I don't know. There's so much you could say about it. There's so many great things.
Yeah, I also really love the scene where Wallace goes and does the diamond heist, and and he's asleep the whole time.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoy that sequence. I think it's very funny.
Oh yeah, it's good. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other scenes in the short film that I really like.
When I was watching it, I watched it with you, Jackson, and I was like falling asleep the whole time, but not in a mean way. I just had work the next day, but but it was good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I think Josh was also in that VC, another friend of the podcast, and he watched it.
Shout
for the
out
first
Josh!
time there.
Shout out Josh!
Shout out!
Yep. If you're listening, you'll be on sometime soon, I hope. But yeah, that was like his first time watching it as well, and he also really enjoyed it. I think it's almost like the Wallace and Gromit short films and the movies as like a whole. They're like, they can be watched anytime. Like, I had a word I was going to say, but I can't remember it now. But they're timeless, you know.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's ever going to be a point where like no one will like outgrow this style of comedy, and even me with my cold dead heart who like laughs at almost nothing, I was laughing very consistently throughout the film and most of the Wallace and Gromit things, and I think that's very special. It's almost like kind of like the old school Looney Tunes in a way, with like their style of like slapstick, but I would say Wallace and Gromit kind of perfect that.
Yeah.
Oh, I would agree 100%, and I think that's honestly something I'd like to get into when we start talking about the sequel to this movie, if we're going to call it that.
Yeah.
And just that this style of comedy has stood the test of time, and I feel like the fact that people are enjoying a modern-day Wallace and Gromit film today just as much, if not more, than we did back then, I think that goes to show the longevity of the humor. Because I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of like the same kind of type of humor, but it just works. There's a certain level of, like I said earlier, whimsicality, fun, just nothing, never mean spirited, never anything like that. You can kind of lose yourself in the movies, and that's what a lot of comedies used to be. And I think that Aardman really captures that well.
It's a certified fun.
Yeah.
Certified fun.
Yeah.
I want to talk. We were talking about character designs earlier. I want to talk about the character design of Feather McGraw because I love Feathers
That's
McGraw
funny.
character design so much. Just the two little beady eyes on top of the head, and
You can never know what he's thinking.
yeah,
You
like
really
they
cannot never.
like the bit where like the one bit I think about is whenever they're doing the diamond heist, and he kind of messes up a little bit, and Wallace sneezes. And he trips the alarm, and Feathers McGraw starts sweating. I think that might be the only time in the short film that he does anything besides, like, stare.
Stare?
Yeah.
But I think that goes to show, too, just how good they are at capturing emotion. Because, like you said, Feathers McGraw does not make a single expression, but you can almost always tell, like, the emotion he's feeling by his body language or the scene he's set in and the set around him. Like, I think that just goes to show their an immense understanding of animation and crafting it and character design in general, because like you said, he literally is just a penguin with two beady eyes. But then just when he's starting to notice that Gromit is starting to catch on to him, he's kind of looking behind him very menacingly. Like you could feel the intensity. And I'm looking for that word, it's something that surrounds, somebody might exude it. It's a pretty popular word, 4-letter word. What's that, Blaine? What's that word?
What?
It was an aura joke. It was the joke was aura.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was lagging out like throughout like half of what you said, so I wasn't able to catch it.
Well, it's okay. It was a pretty shitty joke anyway. I hope we cut that from the podcast.
It's okay.
That
He has
terrible
aura.
bit.
We know
He
that.
does have aura. This is true.
That's staying in.
He's sinister. Yeah.
You just reminded me of one scene whenever you talked about his character design. That scene, one of the things that caught me off guard this watch was there's a bit where Gromit goes to get the mail shortly after Feathers McGraw has moved in, and Feathers McGraw just like zips past him with like really quickly, and he never walks like that the whole movie, and I'm like, that's a great subversion joke of like, yeah, he's always slow and methodical and planning, but to get a leg up, he just kind of appears.
Runs.
I thought that was a very funny gag. And again, no words exchanged, no Marvel quip. Did he just do that? Did that penguin just none of that?
He's got a gun, doesn't he?
He's got it. He's right behind me, isn't he? He's got the diamond, doesn't he?
Really quickly.
The diamond isn't in the bag, is it?
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think. I mean, are we fair to go into ratings? Does anyone else have anything they'd like to mention?
I don't know. I think
I
I'm
don't have
ready to go to
anything.
ratings.
Okay. I'm going to give The Wrong Trousers a 10 out of 10. I think it's the best short film I've ever seen in my life.
That's pretty high praise.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna give it a 10 as well. I think it's
Alright.
really good.
All right.
I didn't have much to say, but I don't think there's much to be said. It's just good.
We'll let you take over a bit more for Vengeance Most Foul, because I think you were awake more for that one. Or not like asleep, but you were more locked in for that one.
Yeah,
But
a bit.
yeah. Braxton?
I guess I'd have to say my rating for it. I think it's gonna have to be a 9. I think it's a fantastic short film. Okay,
Dude!
okay. That is a very high rating.
No.
That is a very, very high rating.
Low. It's low. It's so low.
That is. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah. Did you not get the DM? We're supposed to be arguing all the time, constantly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. My fault.
They dredged
Well,
up
I
the
actually think it
viewers.
was a 5 out of 10. Something real calm, It was nothing too great, I saw Turning Red. Thought that was a lot better, They had the BTS bit or whatever the fuck. Great movie. Everybody loved it.
Yep, all 8 of the people that watched that one on Disney Plus.
Yes,
they
dude.
really
I
liked
watched it not on Disney Plus.
You watched that in a theater?
No.
Oh. Oh. I was about to say.
I watched it by other means.
I was about to say, watching that in the theater would
He
be like
watched it on
water
DVD.
torture.
Support physical
Yep,
media.
Yes.
yep. He bought the 4K Blu-ray. I watched him do it.
Blu-ray, baby.
Hell yeah. No, but honestly, I do think it's a 9 out of 10. And I do say that as a very high rating. Like, I don't know. I hope that not giving it a 10 out of 10 doesn't offend anybody, which it probably
No,
will.
it was a bit. I don't mind.
No, it's okay.
However, I do think it's a fantastic short film, and I think it stood the test of time, and I think it just goes to prove that 30-minute animation shorts are just superior to all. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the perfect runtime.
I think this is my favorite piece of Wallace and Gromit media.
Yeah.
It's high praise.
I really, really like it, and that is high praise because they're all good. I don't think I'd rate anything that those characters have been in below a 7. I think they've all been great. So, yeah.
I have a surprise for you, Jackson.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. All right. Are we ready to move on to the?
yeah. Yeah, I'm ready.
The
I
second
think
film?
I'm ready.
All right.
Yeah, just before we start, I think I liked Wrong Trousers more than this one.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. I would agree.
That was my hot take.
That's your hot take? Okay.
Yeah, I just liked Wrong Trousers a lot more.
All right.
But I still liked it.
Yeah. So, Vengeance Most Foul takes place... is it a few years after the original? I think it's a few years, right?
I think it's a year is what they
Something like
said. Feathers McGraw was locked up for 2 years, something like that.
Something like
Around
that.
that
It's
range.
yeah. And Feathers McGraw is in his zoo prison, and he's under high maintenance. And while this is happening, he's brewing up an evil plan for Wallace and Gromit, waiting for his revenge. And
He got to get back.
Wallace, he's crazy inventor. He's running out of money, so he is it for Gromit's birthday again, or is this just no? It's just he just does it out of the kindness of his heart. He makes a garden gnome to help him garden, and
Yeah.
the whole movie is kind of like an allegory for like the use of AI in art. I think that's kind of what I gathered from it.
Oh?
And
Yeah.
from there, the garden gnomes, it doesn't really understand like what Gromit wants to do with his garden, and it kind of messes it up and makes it more kind of like a modern.
Also, they're supposed to work like they're supposed to be Gromit's like robots.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be voice activated, but he can't speak.
Oh yeah, that's a good bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
So there's,
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
There's so many times where it's like if Gromit could speak, like a situation could like be
A situation
be
could be solved.
yeah,
Yeah, but he just can't speak.
but they some neighbors oversee what happened, and they're like, "Wow, he fixed the lawn. It looks great. Can we hire them?" And Wallace is like, "Well, I'm short on money, so yeah, sure." And then Feathers McGraw sees this on a local TV station, and so he hacks into Wallace's house and takes control of the robots and turns them evil.
I think it's funny that they like he sorted through their like the robots' personality types, and like at the very very bottom there's like evil.
Yeah.
Like, why did Wallace even make like an evil, like, I don't know, coding to his robots?
Maybe
I
he
think
was
it's
going to
funny.
take over, bro. You don't know what Wallace was going to do.
I don't, man.
But yeah, that's
He was
basically the
just
plot
making
of the
like
movie.
all these personalities, and he was just thinking like, yeah, we'll add in evil for good measure.
Yeah. That's basically the plot of the movie, though. The gnomes break out Feathers McGraw, and then he tries to steal another diamond from the new diamond exhibit. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that. There's like a whole kind of... Well, I guess that's enough for a plot synopsis. We can kind of go into the actual movie now. What did you guys think of the whole police subplot? Because I think it's a little too long, I think. Maybe like a scene or two too long.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it didn't really bother me because
I
I
was okay
think
with
it's
that.
still it weaved into the plot well enough to where it wasn't like too like noticeable or obnoxious. Like it didn't really take away from my enjoyment of the film at all. And I think I think I'd agree with you if they didn't weave it into the plot any sooner. Like if it was if they had waited a bit longer and we were kind of with those characters less with Wallace and Gromit and Feathers McGraw, then I would start to agree. But
Okay.
yeah, those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I just feel like anytime they were on screen and they weren't interacting with Wallace and Gromit, I was kind of like, oh yeah, like the jokes with them weren't as great. I don't think, like, there were a few that I liked. Like the Copper's Gut is one that I really liked a lot. Like a lot of the wordplay there is pretty good, but yeah, like the which tie should I wear? The black tie or the blue tie? You should wear the blue one. Ah, yeah, blue like the diamond. I'm like, yeah. I mean, Wallace and Gromit is made for children, so I mean, I bet that made some children laugh. But I'm not a child, so I can criticize it. So, yep.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's
know.
egregious or anything.
Yeah, to me, it just wasn't that deep to me. I was just kind of like, I was more there.
It was there.
Yeah, I was there,
It
but I
serviced
mean,
the plot, so
we know what
can't
we're
hate on
here
it.
for. We're here for some classic Wallace and Gromit tomfoolery.
And I think all of that's great. Like, I guess we can just kind of go out of order and just talk about some of our favorite, like, bits right now. But one of my favorite bits is whenever he's locked in the shed by the garden gnomes, and he has to carve out a perfect, like,
I was going to say that because that's something I specifically
arms.
noticed on my watch.
Yeah.
That's something I really enjoyed on my watch because I don't know. The entire time I was watching that scene, I was thinking, like, how did they do this? Because it was a cutout. Like, think about the actual painstaking moving the figure through the perfect cutout form of his body in the shed. And I was like, you know how much time this bit probably took, this like 2-second bit? And I was thinking to myself, I was like, a lot of people probably did not notice this, but you know what? I noticed this. I'm happy for those people that worked on that bit, that 2-second bit that probably took like 2 or 3 days to make. And I'm glad that you noticed it too, because I was quite fond of that bit.
But, I mean, there's tons of stuff like that in the movie, and I'm really glad that they kept their style of mostly stop motion. Like, they add some CGI in this one, and I didn't mind it when it happened, like, especially near the end, there's, like, a big CGI explosion, and I think that's a little weak.
Oh, yeah.
But, overall, like, I didn't mind the other uses of CG. Like, whenever they do, like, the internet stuff, I'm like, I don't think this would really work if they did it all in, like, claymation, so I'm fine with them using CGI here.
Were the gnomes jumping out of the truck on the scooters? Was that CGI? Because that was something I noticed watching it.
I don't know. Whenever I rewatch, I'll have to go look.
I thought that they were CGI. CGI.
They may have been.
It may have been like a little mix. Like,
Like, when one of the gnomes is being hacked, they definitely put some CG into that.
Oh yeah.
Because like it shows like their power button
Yeah.
and like like shows their electronics through their clothing and stuff like that. I think that was definitely a bit of added. But it didn't take me out.
Yeah.
It was really smooth. Like, I don't know, if I was like 5 years old, I would probably think all of it was CGI.
Yeah. I mean,
they're pretty dang good.
When I was 5 years old, I don't like Wallace and Gromit's one of those things that I think I appreciate a lot more than I'm older now. Because I watched like Curse of the Were Rabbit. I had it on DVD when I was like 6, 7 or so, and I watched it a lot, and I liked it. But I think I really gained like a lot more appreciation for like the stop motion aspect as I got older. I was like, wow, the painstaking work that went into this is...
Oh, I'd have to agree 100%. When I was a dumbass
amazing.
kid, I was like, oh, this is a pretty good movie. But like now I can actually look back at these and be like, wow, these are some really, really good movies that have really stood the test of time against, the movies that I thought were somehow better when I was a child. Cats and Dogs, Kitty Galore.
Oh, yo!
Deep cut.
I honestly haven't thought about a cats versus dogs movie in so long.
Next podcast recommendation?
Recommendation. Here it comes.
Recommendation. Cats and Dogs, Kitty Galore.
No, I don't think I can handle another bad movie recommendation.
I watched every single movie that was on the Hub.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Hub.
That's got a new meaning now. But,
Oh, yeah, true. Well, those who know, they know.
Those who know.
But yeah, back to Wallace and Gromit. What was somebody else's, like, somebody else mentioned one of your favorite bits that you noticed?
I'll give it away to Blaine since I was talking quite a
Come on now.
I don't know. I don't have one in particular
You don't?
I can think of. No, not really.
You don't even like the Feathers McGraw doing pull-ups bit? Come on now. That's funny.
That was pretty fire. He didn't pull out a gun on this one, so
No.
He did not pull out a gun. I was kind of looking forward to it.
It's just it's really depressing.
Yeah, they watered him down.
I guess I don't know if you could call it a bit. You mentioned it already, but the explosion at the end, it was so dramatic, and I was like, what the hell?
I would consider that a bit with how over the top it gets
and
at
Gromit,
the end. Yeah.
And Gromit's falling, and Wallace is going, no.
Yeah.
Wallace or not Wallace, and whatever. And yeah, I thought it was funny. I was like, how the heck is he gonna be saved? And you know, the gnome robots came in clutch, and I felt like I was 5 years old because I didn't even see it coming. I was like,
I literally the same thing happened to me. I was so happy seeing that. I was like, this is the most obvious outcome, but I'm so thoroughly entertained because I did not expect this.
Yeah. I feel like the like group of little minion people chained together, like saving somebody from a cliff, is done like 30,000 times, but I wasn't ready for it then.
Yeah.
Immediately
for them to lock in.
Immediately just got rushed with Brian falling from the mountain and Mayor Adam West grabbing his hand from Family Guy. Sure, it's a common notion, perpetual emotion.
I also really like that whole action scene on the boat. I think it's.
Oh yeah.
Sadly,
definitely highlight of the movie.
Yeah, sadly, it's not the train car level of Wrong Trousers, but I do think it is a great action sequence.
I don't think that takes away from it, though. I would still say, like, it's definitely, like, this movie sorry to, like, veer off a little bit from the bit aspect of it, but I think this movie altogether just, all in all, I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was a really great piece of Wallet and Gromit media and just media in general, and I think it's a good little reminder to animation studios out there that sometimes simplicity is the way to go, and that's how you can really
Sometimes
make
you just
a
gotta
fun.
have fun.
Sometimes you just gotta have fun. You gotta have a bit of love and a bit of fun and a little less corporate bullshit, and you can make it a long way.
Yeah, and also I really like the at the beginning of the film, Wallace makes the dog petter hand machine. And then by the end of the movie, he kind of learns, like, you know, not everything can be solved with machinery.
Yep.
And some things really do need a human touch. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, what a great message for children, you know, because I
think it's a great message.
This is targeted at, like, you know, 6 to 8 year olds probably. Like, I think it came out in the UK, like, on Christmas Day. And if I'm not mistaken, because over there it was aired, like, on national television. And I believe it had 25 million viewers. And it's like...
It had quite a bit.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was, like, really big.
It was like a big success. So I hope this means either more Wallace and Gromit or more whatever of Aardman wants to do. I hope the BBC kind of goes into production with them more and starts getting stuff more often than every decade.
Well, Aardman is working on that Pokemon project, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I'm really interested in that. I forgot.
Oh. Is it like the like summer camp thing?
No, that's different.
No, it's there was a trailer they dropped of like a stop motion Pokeball, and it was a Studio Aardman and Pokemon collab.
Yeah.
Is it for 2027?
Sounds pretty cool.
Maybe.
I'll look it up right now.
Honestly, if we get a new Aardman project by 2027, I'll be shocked.
It is 2027. League. Yeah, I was gonna say, kind of like you said, I would be totally fine if I get a new piece of Wallet and Gromit media every 3 to 5 years, even more.
Yeah.
Like however long they want to take, just, you know, it'll be fresh. I'll be ready for it. Just the love and the care they put into this. I don't need it rushed out. Just take however long you need. But this is the series that if they kept pumping out these, I would not be disappointed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's love and attention to detail.
There really is.
Also, like, there's a surprising amount of kids movies on this episode of the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Besides the Holy Mountain.
Yeah.
The exact opposite.
But one thing that I can appreciate about, like, at least the ones that we're talking about on this podcast is that, like, they don't treat kids like they're stupid. And I feel like that's what a lot of, like, at least new media aimed towards kids is, like, you know, kind of saying and doing. It's just like, they don't really consume anything. They're stupid, do fart joke, do pee joke, like have nothing of substance. And, even though Vengeance Most Foul is still like super fun, there was still like, you know,
There's a good moral.
Wallace having, you know, he has a good moral, and so even a little kid can pick up on that, even through all the fun and whimsy of the show. Like, it's just, I'm glad these people are locking in making good stuff for these youngsters.
Yeah,
'cause they're not dumb.
I have to agree, honestly, completely. This is another little thing, but you saying that reminded me. The scene where Wallace or Gromit's looking in the basement, like trying to see where the gnomes could have gone, and closes the door, and all it shows you is just the water seeping down, then seeping through the cracks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
hear the hollowed out, it dripping down, and that was just a little thing I noticed. To Blaine's point, like, it doesn't treat the audience like they're stupid. It doesn't need to explicitly show you this is what the gnomes are doing, and this is how it got down there. Like, it's a very little detail, but the water dripping down. If you're not stupid, you can kind of assume, okay, they're building it underground, like it's hollowed out down there.
Yeah.
And I think just something as little as that really goes to show, like you said, they're not treating kids like they're stupid. Not everything is so dumbed down that anyone can consume. Like, okay, do a poop joke, do a fart joke, and make this as dumb as possible. Or this is too intelligent. This has to be dumber. Like, they're not treating the audience like they're idiots. They're treating the audience like, you know, they genuinely care. Like, this is a good movie. Sure, it's aimed for kids, but I think it's I don't know if this is the right term, but an intelligent movie aimed for kids.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
In its comedy, at least. In its comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this is necessary viewing if you've got a younger one. I think all the Wallace and Gromit films are.
Would definitely have to agree.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
On God.
I think this is a new Wallace voice actor. I think.
It
I think,
probably must be.
I think the previous Wallace voice actor died like last year.
Oh.
So either this is his last
R.I.P.
role,
a real one.
either this
R.I.P.
was his last role, or this was a new voice actor. I want to say it was a new voice actor though.
It's like when Super Mario died.
This actually was the same voice actor for Were-Rabbit, but I don't know if he was the same voice actor for Wrong Trousers.
I think it is. So I think this may be his last voice acting role for Wallace.
Yeah, it must be.
Dang.
Yeah, that's sad.
Just like Super Mario, bro.
Actually, it's saying that he is still alive.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he is still active, 2003 to present. Ben Whitehead is still alive. You heard it here first. Gromit.
Let's go.
Wallace is not dead.
I thought it was
confirmed
Peter
it here
Sellers.
on the podcast.
I thought Peter Sellers was the original voice actor.
It's saying that this guy Ben.
Never mind. Peter Sellers is somebody different. I'm stupid.
You're good. We'll just cut this bit.
Nah, everything's staying in. That's work.
Everything's staying in. All
No.
right.
No.
All right. So is that all we really want to talk about with Vengeance Most Foul? I feel like there's more I wanted to say.
I think I got my thoughts
I don't
out
have
of the
much
way.
to say. Yeah.
I think, you know what? I got my
conclusion.
thoughts out of the way. If I want more to say, I'll make my own video essay about it. Expect 2-hour video essay.
There you go.
8 years from now, you'll
The
get
deep
it.
intricacies of Vengeance Most Foul.
Vengeance Most Foul is smarter than you think.
It's smarter than you think.
All right.
Have Mr. Beast in the thumbnail too.
Yeah. So, are we ready to move on to ratings for Vengeance Most Foul?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm thinking a 9 out of 10 on this one. I think it's I'll have to compare with Curse of the Were-Rabbit, but I think it might be my second favorite piece of Wallace and Gromit media, behind with third being Close Shave. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
Respectable.
Yeah. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Just 8 out of 10. I think it's a solid, great movie.
I think I'm also going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think that's a very high rating, and I think that this movie is really good, and I hope that other animation studios are watching and learning.
Yep.
Listening and
It should
learning.
be.
Better than Spider-Verse.
Yes, this is true. This
Yep.
is true.
All right, so are we ready? I don't want to speak for everybody here, but are we ready for the dud of the podcast? Take it away,
Oh,
Blaine.
yeah.
This is all your fault.
Okay, yeah, this is my fault. So I'm gonna preface everything before I start talking about the plot. I wanted to watch The Life of Pi because I tried to watch it when I was a little lad, when I was a little baby, and when it got to a certain scene in the movie where animals were dying, I got way too upset and I stopped watching the movie because I was crying like a baby. And so I wanted to watch it again, and I also saw this like interesting comment on YouTube Shorts, and it was talking about how deep it was, and they were talking about all the animals that Pi has on his little boat, and they were referring to them to like his family and stuff, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I never thought of that before. But yeah, it turned out to be really dumb because the movie basically just tells you everything at the end. It like all the symbolism and everything. He just straight up tells you everything. I mean,
which story do you like more, that one or the one with the tiger? The one with the tiger in it. And you know what? I agree. I like the one with the tiger in it more as well.
I do too.
So yeah, I guess brief plot synopsis.
Do I need to?
Yeah, there's not too much.
So, yeah, things I did like about the movie. It had like a storybook feel.
Yeah.
I think that worked in its favor because it's early CGI. So
well, not really early. I think
like,
because I think Richard Parker the tiger is like mainly CGI.
Yeah,
and it looks great.
Really good.
It looks great.
Yeah, better than the Lion King movies.
Yeah,
I have that written down. Down. But I like the storybook aspect of the movie. And let me see. Movie starts. It's there's a guy who's interviewing Pi as an adult, and so Pi basically breaks down his whole entire life to him. And it's all leading up to the big moment of him and his family leaving India and to go to America. And they were zookeepers in India, so they took a bunch of animals with them. And so, they're on the boat, and shenanigans happen. Pi is like a young kid, and he hears thunder, so he's like, "Ooh, I want to see some of that," and he leaves. And basically, like, just panic ensues because the ship is like capsizing, and his family dies, and he jumps onto a boat, and a bunch of animals jump on with him, and basically the rest of the movie is just him, like, surviving on the boat and writing down his thoughts and feelings. And it's like a spiritual journey, because one of the biggest things, at least the guy who's like interviewing Pi the whole time, he's asking him if God is real. That's like the whole thing. It's like so it's a very nice spiritual journey. He tames the tiger Richard Parker, and they go on crazy adventures. I honestly did like a good bit of the movie. Just near the end, it starts to drag a bit.
Yes.
And I still think the ending's good. It ends, and life is all good.
And I clapped because it ended, because the credits rolled.
It does certainly end. It is a movie that ended.
It is a movie that ended. Let me see. I was happy that the movie was telling me everything that was happening. Because
you were so bored out of your mind.
Another thing.
Yeah.
No, I think a lot of movies that portray like Indian culture in like a
you meant about this? Okay.
I think are very. I think that's really, like, I think that's good, because I don't think there's a lot, like, there's a lot of people that don't like Indians, believe it or not. So I think, like, when you're able to see, like, a bit of their life and, at least get a little bit of, like, understanding from where they, live.
Yeah.
and how things work. You stop looking in such a narrow-minded way of, hating Indian people. This is for all the Indian haters out there. You should watch Life of Pi and RRR, okay?
RRR is
And
the
then-
better.
Casual
And then you're-
RRR drop. Holy shit. You should definitely watch RRR and Life of Pi. You can watch it.
You can,
It's okay.
yeah.
But RRR, you have to watch RRR. The greatest movie ever made. The first ever 10 out of 10 I will ever give. But yeah, Life of Pi still, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I like it enough.
There were some cool spots in the movie. There's some like dreamlike scenes where like the water reflects the stars.
Yeah, with the whale. That's a great
That was
shot.
really cool.
Yeah,
They do a
that's a
great
good
job with
one.
that.
There's a cool aspect ratio like shift in the movie. I always like those.
Yeah, because I think some of it was
even
filmed for
in
IMAX.
popular movie Longlegs.
Yeah, I think some of it's like filmed for IMAX. So the
It is, I think.
Yeah.
I was actually doing some research earlier before we talked about this, and I think a lot of it was they used a lot of 3D filmmaking because that was when that
Oh,
was the
yeah!
time when 3D
I
was really
knew!
big. So
There were
a lot of it was
there was oh my bad.
no, you're good. A lot of it was like 3D based. So yeah, if you notice any of that during the movie, that was because a lot of it was like meant to be seen with the 3D glasses going, whoa, I'm on the boat with the tiger. I too am experiencing psychosis.
When me and,
Hell yeah.
When me and Jackson were watching it, I think there was like one scene where when all the animals were going crazy on the boat, there was like an animal that jumped out of the boat or something, and me and Jackson were like, oh yeah, that's definitely a 3D effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the only really one that I was like is like noticeable in a bad way though. Like that's the only one where I'm like, oh, obviously 3D shot only made for 3D. Like I think it kind of doesn't have any weight at all in 2D.
I think it was definitely I think the goal for this was kind of to be like similar to how like Avatar like really needed that like IMAX experience, like really took advantage of it. Like that's kind of what they were trying to do with this, which I did not get the privilege of seeing The Life of Pi in 3D myself.
That's true. I
did
did
not get
Me
that
neither.
experience in the cinemas, but
Well, hey,
I can imagine those that did, their lives were changed.
here's my thing about that, right? If the movie was good,
What?
I would have bought a 3D copy of it and watched it in VR in 3D. But
Oh,
You can
The
do
movie-
that.
the
you
movie's
can
not
watch
good.
The Life of Pi in VR.
yeah,
You can do
you can
that.
you can take like I've watched Tron Legacy in 3D in VR.
Wait,
Can
really?
you watch Yogi
Yeah, it's
Bear
awesome.
in 3D?
The
Dude,
what?
can you watch Yogi Bear in 3D? That's
I
a
don't-
great
Can
question.
you watch
I don't
Yogi
know
Bear in
if
3D?
you can
The
find
live
a-
action one in particular.
a Blu-ray copy of a Yogi Bear 3D. I can rip it and we can go crazy.
It just might be Jackson,
Oh, yeah.
but I might have just what you're looking for.
I would love to see Yogi Bear in 3D.
Definitely have a copy of the live action movie. Whether it's in 3D or not, I don't know, but that might be what we're looking for. Anyone watching the podcast, if you find a 3D copy of Yogi Bear live action, please let Blaine or Jackson know.
Please hit up my line.
Yep.
Hit 'em up.
Yep, we got our letterbox open, so just let us
They're
know.
open.
Can you DM on Letterboxd?
Nah, but
I
you
don't
can
think
comment
you
under my
can.
most recent review, or comment under
You
any
can
review.
comment
I
on the
don't get any
review. You can
comments.
comment on the review. Hey, I found a Yogi Bear in 3D.
Yeah, on my review of Lost Highway, commented on that one. But
Oh.
yeah, I guess what the heck were we talking about? Oh yeah, 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I think it's a movie that I watched back in middle school. Kind of like around the time I was first kind of starting to get into movies, and I'm like, yeah, that was good. And I've kind of forgotten a lot about it since then. It didn't really leave that big of an impact on me. And so this rewatch, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll get something out of this that I didn't get out of it back in middle school. And maybe I'll learn something and I'll appreciate it a little bit more. And I didn't. I still have the exact same opinion of, I think it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of I don't know what I was expecting. I think I don't know. For some reason when I was around the same age, I was able to watch Castaway completely the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
The whole way through. So, and I don't know how I watched that and not like I think it's just the
All right. Sorry, we had a little technical difficulties there, but
yeah, I was screaming and crying just a second ago.
Blaine was sobbing, throwing up, dying at
I
his
almost
monitor.
like like tore my keyboard in half, like over my knee, just like broke it, just destroying everything.
Fist almost went through the screen.
Do y'all want to get to ratings of Life of Pi, or do you?
I think we have a little bit more to say. I think the movie's a little too long is one of my main complaints. Like, I feel like it could be like 20 minutes shorter, because I understand like I was actually like really enjoying the movie. Up until about like the boat kind of gets destroyed, and there's like that cool shot with like all the red. I can't remember what that reminded me of, but that was like a cool looking shot. I was like, ooh, it's like red underwater.
Yeah, when the like red light was like pulsing, swimming to go like try and find his family.
I was like, that was a good
part
use
of the
color.
movie was really, really good.
And
I think like, my bad.
No, you continue.
No, it was super high intensity, and like even though the movie's like made for kids, like I was still sitting there like, dang. I think the only thing that like takes you back from like Pi's family and you know everything tragic that's happening is like all the animals everywhere. It's very hectic.
Yeah, it's I enjoyed it like up until that, and then I liked it whenever it was like the monkey, the hyena, and the tiger on the boat.
Yeah,
I'm like, that was
zebra
or the zebra. Yeah, you're right. And I'm like, that was pretty good. And then whenever it just becomes Richard Parker and the Pi like alive and them kind of drifting, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of interesting seeing him like navigate with this tiger, like trying to show like in some scenes he's like sneaking around grabbing stuff from the boat and then going back into the water to like his own little raft he's made. In other scenes he's like trying to almost tame the tiger. I'm like, this is interesting, but I feel like that stuff goes on for a little too long. It could have been like a few scenes instead of about a third of the movie, which is what it feels like.
Yeah, I thought that was like probably my favorite part of the movie. Were their scenes together, because I don't know, like any normal person, like especially when you feel like they have like a connection building with each other. Yeah. And there's the one part in the movie where he says that hunger will make you go crazy, and he gets up on the boat and like actually like fights for the biggest fish.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
I like that bit with the fish.
So it makes that a little more impactful, I guess. When he puts like the boat against the tide and has to put like seasickness to like the whistle thing that he had while taming him, I thought that was cool. I don't know. I thought there were some cool parts.
Yeah, there's some cool parts, but like nothing about what you were describing was like, man, I gotta rewatch that. I was just like, oh yeah, that did happen in the movie,
true.
And I wasn't bored out of my mind while that was happening. That's right. Like, I mean, I don't think the movie's terrible. It's just kind of all right to me.
Yeah, true.
I didn't really like the bit where they go to like the weird like plant thing in the middle of the ocean that like
I didn't
decomposes
like
people
island
in the acid or whatever. I'm like, okay. Kind of feels out of place.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they would have just after like the big storm, they would have just washed up on the beach instead of washing up on the
I think
the lady island. Like I understand like what it represents as like it is his mom, like I get that, but I just feel like it would be better if he just ended up on the shore of the beach and then the movie came to a conclusion 10 minutes quicker.
I think I agree.
True. I agree.
Yeah. I think that's like my main criticism besides the fact that they literally just explain the symbolism at the end of the movie.
I really didn't like that, and I will say that's kind of my main criticism, because the thing I remembered most about it was we read the book for AP Lit back in senior year of high school, so like I don't remember the book like super well, but I remembered it enough to like know some of the points. And in the book, if I'm remembering correctly, it's a lot more ambiguous, and that's one of the best parts about the book. Yeah, is they don't just straight up just tell you at the end like they do in the movie, and I feel like that was like a huge miss in the movie, because I actually am going to agree with Blaine here on I do like the parts of him with the tiger because it builds the intensity almost, and I think like back to like the whole capturing it in 3D, it kind of really makes you like
I could
feel that claustrophobia and that intensity, and like throughout this time where you're watching him like narrowly like duck around the tiger, Richard Parker, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that like them building that bond together is one of the highlights of the movie for me. But I mean, I kind of I do agree with Jackson though in the same boat that a lot of parts were unnecessary, and I don't know, I just really don't like the ending of the movie. I think that it totally misses the point of the book, and it's just a huge misfire.
I feel like if they did make it ambiguous, the movie would like, you know,
Be a little bit higher up.
it would test.
Yes.
Yeah, it would be able to test time better. Because I feel like if you would revisit the movie and you would kind of be able to come to that conclusion yourself,
Yeah.
it would be like a little bit more impactful. But I get what they're saying because, you know, it's just it's a little bit of force feeding.
It is a kids movie
baby
though.
audience.
Like they did, I don't know how kid friendly the book is, but they did market this as like a children's film.
It's definitely not a kid-friendly book, so I did not know
Yeah.
that they marketed it like a kids film.
Yeah, like I think I remember multiple advertisements when I was younger where it's like the story of a boy and a lion. Like it was like it's rated PG, like it's
It
not
is
even a PG-13.
yeah.
And I think a lot of the movie it is kind of like explaining to like especially the end. The end of the movie is literally just explaining to younger audiences the point of the story. And it's kind of the opposite of what we were talking about with Wallace and Gromit. Instead of like being like intelligent, being like, oh yeah, look, you can infer these things are happening because you know you've experienced things like that. Like you've walked by a drain before and you've heard the drain, you know, hit the thing and it sounds more hollow than if a thing of rain just hit on the concrete. Like you kind of understand that. And I understand you can't really do that for some of the spiritual imagery in Life of Pi, but considering this movie's more aimed at, I think, probably a higher age bracket of probably like 10 to 12-year-olds, I think that you could probably leave a little bit to be, you know, discovered by the viewer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and F you to the YouTube Shorts comment that made me think that this movie was going to be deeper than it
Yeah,
was.
F
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
A little side note.
What's that guy's
that.
name?
Yeah, F that guy. A little side note. Unrelated to the movie, though. The poster for this movie is really funny. I just found this here. Look in the group chat.
That's going to
I
be
don't know. I just saw that and I was like, I don't know if you can put that in the video. But
That is fire.
I think it's
That's
pretty
gonna
fire.
Be the
Just
thumbnail.
the side
thumbnail.
profile looking at the
Yeah.
lion. I think that's really good. I like that a lot.
It is.
Look at him right there. He's on the
Wow.
boat. He's facing off against Richard Parker. Wow. The
Did
journey
like a
of a
12-year-old
lifetime.
make it?
And look, the Life of Pi in 3D.
Dude, it's
What do you know?
it's reminding me of that X-Men First Class poster.
Oh yeah.
Incoming recommendation. X-Men First
Oh
Class.
no.
No, I'm messing with you. That'll be its own trilogy episode.
Then we gotta watch Deadpool and Wolverine.
No, we don't.
Oh yeah. Everyone's favorite movie.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's favorite
My
slop.
favorite.
You know what? I'll give it. You know what? Life of Pi, better kids movie than Deadpool and Wolverine.
I agree.
I
Deadpool,
agree. I
Wolverine.
think it's better than Deadpool and Wolverine. I'll say
first-
that at least.
The first R-rated movie. aimed
I'd
at
sit down and watch
12-year-olds.
Life of Pi like
Yep.
any day instead of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yep, better movie.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, are we ready to move on to ratings?
I
Yeah,
think
I'm
so.
ready.
I don't hate it. It may sound like I hated it, but I don't hate it. But I'm probably not going to rewatch it for a decade at least.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a 6 out of 10 on this one.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm thinking a solid 7.
That's fair.
I think that's fair.
I did quite I quite enjoyed it just a bit. I think it, you know, I think it was all right. Even though it was the dud of the episode. I'm sorry,
Hey,
guys.
if
I
the-
would
if the-
recommend...
I think we got some good conversation out of it. I would not
If
call
the,
it
if the
a
dud of the episode is a 6 out of 10, I don't know what you would call the Madam Web Morbius Craven the Hunter episode.
Well, no, it's just the whole recommendation came from a YouTube Shorts comment that that just explained what's already explained in the movie. Like I had like a whole like dreadful like bellowing like sigh when when he started explaining the movie. I was like, dude, this can't be.
YouTube Shorts already told you everything you needed to know.
Yeah, I should have just watched the
apparently
YouTube
so.
short explaining this movie instead of experiencing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I personally think I'm gonna agree with Jackson here and give it a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's by any means like bad or anything like that. Like,
No.
I definitely think there's a lot to like about it. However, I think there are certain aspects that could have definitely been done better. And I'm not saying to make a Life of Pi remake. We do not need this. We do not need the Life of Pi remake.
Yes, we do. Yes, we
You're
do.
right. Yes,
coming
we
back.
do. Come on,
England coming
Lionsgate.
back.
Let's get locked in.
Life of Pi 2.
Life of Pi 2.
Lost at Sea.
Come on, what else is
Sea.
it?
Elephant.
Life
else
of
is
Pi
Angry
Paramount
working
Plus
on?
series. Oh, yeah.
You know what? I actually wouldn't mind a miniseries if they flesh. Actually, yeah, I would because I don't know. I haven't
The
read
book
the book.
is not long enough for a miniseries. I
You
think.
don't think it's long
Moana
enough for like a
3.
6-part miniseries or nothing?
No, at most like 3 episodes.
Wow. So they kind of stretched the movie out or didn't even include enough in the movie.
They didn't include enough in the movie. Is really what happened because it's PG.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably some studio
Yeah, I did-
executive like, yeah, I read the book and you can't include this, this, and this, and this. And
Pretty
you also have to
much.
explain it to all the dumb idiot children in the audience because this is going to be marketed like a children's film in the U.S. because no one else will go see it.
It was pretty successful
Yeah.
though. Let me look that up.
Actually,
Yeah,
I'm curious.
I thought it
yeah.
was.
600 million.
That's double what Pixels made.
That's true. And what was its budget? Let's look that up.
On a budget of 120 million.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
I remember it being pretty big when it came out. Like everyone went to go see it. Like I definitely remember the marketing for it.
Oh, I remember the marketing. It was a big thing.
Life of Pi, big movie. But yeah, I think I'm kind of sitting comfortably at that 6 out of 10. You know, I think it's
Yeah.
like I don't think it's by any means the dead of the episode though.
You think it's Holy Mountain?
This is not true. I have a lot to say about Holy Mountain. Holy Mountain, actually, the highlight of the episode. But we'll get to that as
Okay.
soon as our good friend Blaine stops lagging.
All right.
All right.
All right. All right.
So
Are we getting into
I think we're
The
ready for
Holy
Holy
Mountain.
Mountain.
Holy
All
Mountain?
right, Braxton, explain the plot.
All right, so a little backdrop here, kind of similar to the Life of Pi. I recommended the Holy Mountain, solely based off of the fact that I've had this in my watch list forever. I think I literally saw the poster on Letterboxd, knew nothing about it, just read that short synopsis and was like, yeah, I really want to watch this. So I got Blaine and Jackson on board to watch this batshit insane movie that I had no idea what it was going to be like, but. A basic synopsis of this movie is we're introduced to this thief character. We don't know anything about him, but we're introduced to him in this almost very dystopian, just completely absurd world where he's kind of journeying
Doesn't
through.
he just wake up?
Yeah, he just wakes up.
And there's water leaking out from
There's
him.
water leaking out for
and
him. There's bugs all over
Yeah.
his face. And this guy with no
Little
arms
potato
or
man.
legs just kind of waddles up to him, wipes his face off, and they just set off, and that's all you get. That's all you get as the audience. You're not...
Didn't they? Sorry, I'm just like I'm remembering things.
There's going to be a lot of that.
But like, I know, because there's so much just random shit in this movie.
It's
but
very,
like,
it's very.
don't
much so.
they? Doesn't him and a group of little kids take him to a cross
Yes.
and then stone
Yes.
him, and then he wakes up screaming, and then he shares a blunt with the potato dude. I'm assuming, and then he lifts his hair and kisses him on the head, and they're like best friends.
Yeah, basically. I think that was a whole. We'll get into that later, but I think that was like Jesus imagery. I'm pretty
yes. Yes.
sure. That was
No,
what,
for
that
sure.
Was, that was Christ
but
imagery.
I guess we should also let the people know that we were watching the English dub because we found a link on Vimeo or Daily Motion or something.
I actually think a
and-
lot of it's in English. I think that a lot of
Oh.
I think it is. That actually is how the movie is.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I might be
I thought it was a
completely
foreign
wrong.
film.
It is a foreign film is the funny thing, but I think it's
Yeah.
like the dialogue is all in English because there's not a lot of dialogue also in this movie. That's
Not
something
until
to know.
the-
There's
not until, like, 40
the
minutes
second
in.
half.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's a lot of exposition in this, but not exposition like boring exposition, just completely like you've no idea what you're gonna see next. But anyway, back to the synopsis. So this thief and his little and his friend, we'll call him his friend, are setting out to the streets, and you're introduced to just this crazy ass world. You have you have these images of tourists coming up. This one lady just starts fucking this guard, and his husband goes up to our main character. And he's like, "Hey, take a picture for us," and taking a picture of this guy pointing at this guard, like fucking his wife. Like, it's an insane movie. Like, it's just an insane world with a ton of symbolism. But as our thief goes down, he gets to this obelisk where he's tempted by a bit of gold on the hook. So he takes this hook up to the top of this tower where we meet our...
Well, wait. Wasn't there like a whole part before that? Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're
Braxton.
good.
I'm sorry. There's just like there's
with
things
the Nazi
I want
frogs?
to talk about because I don't get it. Yes.
I want to get into that
Nazi
after the
frogs things
synopsis. Was what I was thinking.
Okay.
Oh, my
No,
bad,
but no,
my bad.
you're good. You're good.
I wanted to mention like some of the things because I'll completely forget. But like he gets taken, or like he drinks with these people who are in like Rome outfits.
Yes.
And then they make a mold of his body while he's intoxicated, and make just a bunch of like Jesus on the cross like posed out little molds of him, and fill it in this room, and he just tweaks out.
Yeah, I saw that kind of like as consumerism.
Yeah, a little on that. I think
consumerism.
I think that was like the Jesus in the temple.
Yes.
That was what that was. That was the whole like Jesus getting mad at them for selling.
Yeah, sorry. I don't want to interrupt you. There's just
there's
like
a lot.
there's so much
lot.
random
There's
things
so much
that I remembering.
Yeah, but so he goes up and he meets this our primary figure of the movie, the alchemist. He's the poster figure, guy with the hat with the goats by him, and this alchemist meets this thief, and he prepares him for this journey towards enlightenment. You see, there are these immortals, these gods that live above the land, that have achieved immortality, that live atop the holy mountain, the titular holy mountain that's located on Lotus Island. And it is the thief's job, along with 8 other disciples, to go to the holy mountain, take the immortality from the immortals, and achieve enlightenment. And yeah, that's basically the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
And let me just say, there is so much to talk about with this movie. One of the things that me and Blaine, like literally, I'm texting. I'll read my DM to Blaine. I think I quite literally said, 1 second. I said, "This movie is fucking insane," and then Blaine proceeds to respond, "It's too much," in all caps. There is so much happening in this entire movie that it is just so much to talk about, and the amount of effort and time put into like the set and these scenes, all the little intricacies, like the introduction of the disciples. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Where do we even start?
I think a good place to start is the production, because
yes,
that's easily my favorite part of the movie, is like how the movie looks and how much time and effort went into everything. It's really like even the scenes that I wasn't really vibing the movie, like I wasn't really feeling it at all. And I was just like, wow, I mean, I really respect what the director's done, though. Like, I mean, it looks phenomenal. Whenever it's not some guy getting his balls chopped off or his penis chopped off, or, you know.
Yes.
I agree.
I agree.
There's some scenes I have in mind. Kind of where the movie picks up, at least for me, because like everything before, the thief meeting the alchemist, I was just like I didn't know what was going on. Like the whole beginning introduction of the movie, where he's doing some weird seance with those 2 women. I was like, what is going on? I was like tweaking out laying in my bed. But when he meets the alchemist, and like the way to him is like all rainbowed out.
I really like that.
He's doing like the slow paces towards him with his knife out. I thought that was cool as shit. And then when he's kind of introduced to him, one thing I did think was weird is when he washed him, and they showed his butt crack out, and they were like fingering all up in his butt crack, getting him all.
Welcome to the 70s.
I didn't vibe with that.
They're
too
cleansing
much,
him because he's impure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, had to shove their finger in his butthole a little bit.
A little.
They're
no, they were all up in there. Like that was something I did notice. I was like, God damn, they really made that actor just bend over and take that sponge in his asshole.
Yeah. The when the room spun.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna mention
Somebody
that. I
knows what I'm
really
talking about
love
there.
that shot. Like
I thought that was cool as shit.
how they set up the camera for that for both angles, the on top and the on the wall, so it's just moving around them. I really like that. I liked both shots.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. Yeah. I guess I can think of more scenes.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I think I want to bring
can
it back
just-
to what I mentioned earlier with the Nazi frogs.
Yeah.
So there's the Nazi guy in the top hat, and he's got a bunch of frogs, and then he's got a bunch of frogs that like represent the Crusades, I think, and they like
Yeah.
take over.
It's definitely Rome. It's like Rome architecture.
Okay.
I thought the
So-
frogs were like all like that kind of like Aztec or like Incan pyramid sort of thing.
I can't remember
That could be
now.
it too. I couldn't really tell because like their armor. I was feeling bad for those frogs, bro.
They
I was
did
like, damn.
blow the fuck up out of that temple with
Oh,
the
yeah.
frogs on it. Like those.
There were so many frogs. Like before they even explode, there's like blood gushing out of the temples, and all the frogs are just getting
Are just
covered
covered
in
in it,
blood.
yeah.
And there's like, yeah, and they're just like I was watching them like jump and like just. I mean, obviously, I guess during recording, the animals weren't abused. Besides one part, but
All right, and we're back. Blaine's internet keeps going out this
Yeah.
episode.
I think my mom watching the Kardashians and everything is just going wrong, and I can't do anything.
Can't catch a break. Nothing ever
I
happens.
can't. I'm trying to talk about the Holy Mountain, dude.
The Holy Mountain.
Blaine's currently rocking the 3 megabit per
Where-
second download on these internet speed.
Oh, he really is.
Yeah, it's not. It is not good.
All right.
Where
so we
were
were talking
we?
about the frogs, and
Those frogs blew up.
we've
dude.
come to the
Like,
conclusion that we think it was like Mayan or Aztec frogs, and that they were getting invaded by
Okay.
the Spanish conquistadors during their like religious what would you call that? Like I guess their religious crusade across South America back in back in like the 1800s.
1648.
Yeah, sure.
So,
1738.
I think it was
I made that
our
up.
horrible butchering of history, but sometime around then, yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere between 1738 and the 1800s, it went crazy.
They did do that. That was very unfortunate.
And what were they doing during that scene? Like, wasn't the thief and his little chicken nugget friend, weren't they performing?
They were literally just like going around town and like dicking
Yeah.
around. Like they were just kind of like, I don't know, you were kind of experiencing the world with them.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
where a lot of the symbolism takes place, and I think with the director's vision here, like I feel like there was a lot of like fascist consumerism, gluttony, lust, like all that was
Oh, yeah.
displayed
What-
like on like just max, and I think it was just at such a level too. Like everything was like as provocative as possible.
I was
wasn't
gonna
there? Wasn't there is? Oh my bad.
No, you good. You continue.
Wasn't there a scene where it was like there was just a bunch of like scandalously clothed
That's
women.
every scene.
They were at a church.
Yes.
They were at a church, and like almost as soon as they left, they lined up, and it just kind of like showed all the women and like what they were wearing and stuff, and of course their boobies were out. That's like the whole thing. But there was a freaking little girl.
Yes.
And a guy went and he chose the little girl out of
I
all
think it was
the
a
women,
priest
and he
that
gave
did too.
That's horrible.
Oh, nasty. Yeah, and he gave her like his eye because he
Yeah.
had a fake eye. And it was just all kinds of.
It's
That
a
was
very
probably,
disturbing scene.
That was probably, I think a lot of scenes in this film are very disturbing, and maybe this is just my like, you know what, this is probably just my low tolerance to stuff like this, because I don't really like gore in movies and stuff like that, but like, and I don't really like a dig like a ton of nudity either. Like I'm fine if it's used for artistic purpose, and it's definitely used for an artistic purpose here, but it was just too much, man. I feel like it was, and I know that's what the movie's going for, is this like indulge in excess, but like, man, like there were some
There
scenes
is
where I was
quite
like,
a bit.
lot.
it's too much, dude. It was too much for me in some scenes.
It's a very like one thing I was noticing the entire.
Hold up, technical difficulties.
Oh,
It's okay.
all
We've
right.
had tons.
Yeah. We'll just keep it going.
All right, we're back.
Yeah.
Okay, my mic got unplugged. I apologize. I was getting a
okay.
little too passionate about the Holy Mountain, but Yeah, I think that one of the things I was really noticing is the religious imagery in here, and that's kind of where I think a lot of the nudity and gratuity plays in. Like, we're getting introduced to this alchemist religion of enlightenment. Like, there's so many, like, just all the art and stuff in his tower, and like you said, like, the nudity shown in the movie and the drawn out shots and the very eerie ambiance in the background of it. And I definitely could see where you're coming from and like the over gratuitous nature, but I do think in this movie in particular, it's definitely used artistically. And I think I'll get to this point when we talk more about like the overall meaning of the film. But
Yeah. I just think it was a little bit too much for me to handle personally. That's not a slight against the movie. That's more just me kind of explaining my experience.
I was I looked through like a couple of reviews because when I was watching this movie, it took me like I would stop every 20-25 minutes just to take a little break because there was just so much.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have watched it all in one viewing.
Oh yeah, I did it all in one viewing.
Yeah.
I just
just YOLO'd it. But there were a couple of reviews I saw where people were calling it pretentious, and I don't know.
I could see that.
That's a pretty like that's a big word. That's a big label to put on something. You know what I'm saying? I didn't pick up on anything pretentious, but maybe that's just because I didn't really understand what was happening most of the time.
I think all great works of art are labeled pretentious by
I would
someone
agree.
at one point or another.
I think this is one that I wouldn't call pretentious either. Like, I would call like Joker 2. Like, that movie's pretentious as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, that is prime example. Of
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people
Yeah.
like to call things pretentious they may not like or whatever because they can kind of put their smart ass glasses on and be like, this is pretentious, so it's bad movie.
Technolize.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of reviews of that.
But
Hey, don't open that can of worms. Hey.
But I don't know. I wouldn't call it pretentious personally, but I can see where people would get that from, and I think that also kind of plays into the overall message of the movie, which is literally not like it's not clear up until the last like few minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Which we'll probably get to in a do you
We'll
guys
keep
want to
going
talk
in
about
order.
the disciples and their introductions? Because that's where it really you think you see
This
some
is-
crazy
yeah.
shit.
I'm gonna have
It
to.
is just so.
I'm gonna have to pull up the wiki. For
The
this one.
disciples, I actually think I will too, just so I can get them in order. But the disciples' introductions just kept getting more and more absurd. Like, it was, I really do think it was comedic. Like, I really think that was the director kind of like almost taking the piss out of like his own movie and just like how absurd it can get in general. Because I think that kind of plays into the whole message about like his thoughts on the concept of enlightenment and everything. But I thought I personally thought it was really funny, and there was multiple points where I was like, just holy shit, I can't believe I'm watching this in my living room. Like, I'm really glad my roommate actually stepped out before the disciples got introduced, because he wasn't watching, but I really did not want him to come in the living room when like the fucking what was that dude's planet? The guy that had like that lady in bed where she's like pissing on the super tall toilet.
Yes,
while he's in the
I was literally thinking about that whenever you were
There's
like,
so much shit. That's insane.
He was Uranus.
Yes, he was Uranus.
haha, funny.
He was the he was the political advisor, and he was tasked with reducing the population for financial.
Yeah, he had to
purposes.
reduce them by 5 million. So they were going to go to war and kill all the Peruvians, right?
No.
Oh no, that's a different. That's a different one. That's the war
that's a
lady.
different one.
Yeah.
That's the war lady.
The dude in the government just said, "Yep, get the gas chambers ready. I want every."
Oh
single
yeah, he said like
McDonald's,
in the libraries
yeah.
and that's one thing I found interesting.
I
About
did
that
like
he
that.
mentions like
It was
he
like
mentions like these places where it's like brothels and all this stuff, and I'm like, things that would be considered like
They got
dregs
gas
of
chambers
society
there? Yes.
almost. And then he also mentions like libraries, so he wants to cull the smartest and the dumbest people that he can find, so that he has like the sheep left. Almost was kind of like what I got from that.
I thought that the joke
Yeah,
of
for
that,
sure.
like, that guy and his wife were such, like, a crazy, just, like, bonkers couple. Like, we literally just got a scene of them, like, just, like, tearing apart a cake, having, like, a fucking breakdown, come apart, and you're like, oh. And then it immediately goes
He
to,
did not like his wife.
we're the aides to the governor, or something like that. Like, that was, I like that joke. That was really funny to me. I was like, okay. So I see where we're, making fun of here.
Yeah.
The first disciple or whatever was
Yes.
Venus, and they were a cosmetician who produces artificial faces.
Okay, she was my favorite. That was my favorite, like with the whole factory produced art kind of analogy and the people painting their butts and sitting on the things.
That was
I
a
liked- I
guy.
liked
That
that
was
symbolism.
I think that was
Oh, that was the second guy. You're right.
yes. I need
Yeah,
to.
sorry.
The one where like
With all the
people
wives,
were
yeah.
like just art,
Yeah.
or no, where their bodies were like art and you could only see their
Yes.
torsos.
Yes. I really like
Was
that.
that was not her?
That was not
can't
her. It
remember
was
now.
it was the guy who he lived in that mansion. I'm gonna find this.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. See, whenever you're given scenes.
Oh
like,
no, he was Jupiter.
Jupiter,
He was
okay.
Jupiter.
Yeah, Venus is a
Um,
cosmetician who produces the artificial faces. I'm trying to remember
Okay.
who Venus was. No, Venus was the guy who had the mattress shop. He had all the wives. They were like every
Yes,
worker
yeah,
there was like a
yeah.
wife to him, and they would become his secretary once he was ready to like make love to them.
Yeah.
It was pretty. It just there's so much insane things that just happen in this movie. They're very nonchalantly explaining like what they do as these just absurd images are put along. And you were talking about the weapons manufacturer and the Peruvians, and I thought that
Yeah.
was really,
I think that was one of my favorites.
that was
yeah.
one of my favorite parts of the movie, where she's explaining that they're weapons manufacturers and they can instill a hatred for a race of people at birth if they think that they're going to go to war to them. They have that like AI machine to calculate like the government and what would happen in like policies. So she's talking about how they can instill like this hatred for Peruvians at birth and like all the things they
Into the
do,
children,
and it's
yeah.
just it's so crazy. And I think that like that was really when I started to really lock into the movie, because I think up to that point I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like this is just this is so absurd. Like I don't even know what to make sense of this. But that was when I started to really kind of pick up on the commentary throughout the movie, and I really think that's something I really enjoyed. I think that it had a lot to say in those regards and in those scenes, and he just did it in the most just obscene, vulgar way possible.
The erotic machines guy was certainly
Oh,
something.
the guy with the fucking
Yeah.
art, and he has like
I had to pause it like,
when she
during
has
that,
the
'cause that
fucking
was-
big ass metal stick and she's fucking the machine, and then it makes the fucking
Yeah.
machine, makes the
Yeah.
fucking machine baby. Dude, that was so funny to me. I was like, there's just no way.
It was funny, but like I was sitting there and like the rod started spewing goo on the floor, and I was so upset. You have no idea.
I was
Like,
watching that
I just
scene.
hated it.
Just staring there, like that gif of that guy in Vietnam.
Maybe I'm
Waiting
a
for
freak.
it to
I
go.
thought it was
Yeah,
really
it
funny
was-
though.
I hated it. I hated it so well. It paid off with like the robot with the like little robot kid, I guess. But like,
I don't think it
there-
paid off for me, bro, because that robot kid came out and I was just like, what? And then the scene transitioned and I'm like, okay, all right.
And then what else?
I was about to say that's like
The toy
The
maker.
toy maker is another one.
yeah,
That was the one who indoctrinates the children.
like Call of Duty.
Did the just like Call of Duty. Uranus,
Yep.
we talked about them.
Yep.
The political advisor, and the Neptune, the police chief.
Yeah, that was
Oh.
we
crazy.
got to see a guy get his balls.
Yeah,
chopped
like
off.
they cut the
That one
nuts
was
off of everybody,
insane.
and that was another thing I noticed. He doesn't show a lot of like, besides the balls getting cut off, like there's not a lot of gore in this movie when you think about it. It's a lot of like there's very like artistic. No. When you
Yeah.
think about it, there's a lot of like. Okay, I actually take that back. I'm kind of forgetting the whole opening scene.
I was about
The
to
people
say,
getting
weren't
shot in
there
the
weren't there
streets?
tons of like dogs or something skinned alive and like
It was an
Carried on
animal. It
pikes
was an
down the road.
undisclosed animal, but
it looked like a dog.
It was
we'll
definitely a
go
dog.
from there. We'll go from there.
There's like dog corpses like everywhere in this movie. And something I noticed was in Uranus and his story. I just vaguely remember this, but when they were like hanging out and he was taking a bath and she was peeing on her big ass toilet,
Yes.
and she was telling him to close up the big window, and it was like small as shit. There was a like just severed dog head that was just sitting on their I'm assuming like their chimney.
I did
kind of
not
thing.
notice
I was
that
I was
at
like, wow,
all.
that That is very very odd furniture you got there. But no, there was just straight up a severed dog head. It was probably taxidermied, but it was still weird.
Yeah, I actually did not notice that at all. I completely missed that.
Yeah, it was just kind of there. There's so much like more happening in those scenes. Like I don't know how I picked up on it, but I did. Yeah,
It's a pretty crazy movie. Another thing, back to what
That's
I was
slightly.
Yeah, it was just a little bit. It's a little weird, but back to what I was saying though. One of the things that they were doing specifically in the Neptune was the police chief, right?
Yes.
When they go to attack those protesters, like all those protesters' death are done with like strawberries or like some other type of fruits. Like that one girl is like spewing up grapes or something like that, and instead of using actual blood, they're like using different colors. I noticed that for a lot of like deaths in the movie. They use like either like yellow or blue blood or some other type of artistic method to like show death, or like a bird, like some dude would die and like a bird would get pulled from his chest cavity, like so just some crazy shit like that. I really like that. I don't know, me personally, I respected the choice. I can see where that might get lost on the audience, because there was a part of me that was like, this is very...
What does it mean?
Loki, I was like, okay, man. Like, I was like, okay, what's happening? But I do think that it was... I don't know, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because, like, I think oftentimes whenever that was happening, I would watch the movie and I would be like, okay, I'm kind of interested in what's happening. Okay, that guy just got shot by this type of, he got shot, he's giving green blood or whatever, and I'm like, what would this represent? Or was the director just messing around on set? I don't think he was just like, I don't know. I don't feel like he'd be the type to kind of just mess around and...
I will say there were
Like,
several scenes where I thought the same thing, and I think that kind of plays into when we finally get to the ending, where that kind of comes into play. But I don't know. I think that there were some things that were done just to be like as absurd as possible, like almost just like to really take you off guard. But I do think a lot of almost everything had meaning. Symbolism plays a big part in this movie.
Yeah.
Like you can definitely tell.
Hey y'all.
Oh. Yeah. We were just talking about the symbolism. Sorry for the viewers at home. I'm done editing, so you're getting this one left in. His internet blew up again.
It's okay.
Internet shit
I can't.
once more.
I can't, dude. Where are we?
We were just talking about the
Are we
green and
moving?
blue blood and the symbolism and stuff, and how we don't know if it's really symbolism or not.
Yeah, there was like tubes that I noticed like running out of their nose, where there was like blue coming out, or like non-blood colors. There I think Braxton was saying something like one lady was like spitting out grapes.
Yeah.
They pulled like a dove out of somebody's chest. I
Multiple
thought that was
doves.
like,
I think 4.
Yeah.
Which one of those 4 doves represent? Does that represent his soul? Does that represent? I don't know. I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. I really like that decision to do something like that. Like none of the, I don't know. It's a very meta commentary too, I think. Before meta commentaries were actually a thing.
Yeah. I think you were telling me like what was it? Midnight Cowboy?
Yes.
Oh, I gotta
Braxton?
watch that. Do not spoil it.
And
movie.
you told me no, I'm not. But you said that a bunch of movies in the 70s they just didn't give a shit, so they just did stuff. Yeah, so I definitely got I got the gist of the 70s from this movie.
Yes, this is a
at
very
least.
good example of 70s movies.
Not
yeah,
giving
they
a
just
shit.
don't fucking care. They were letting anything go to the cinemas then.
Well,
I guess let's continue along on the order of disciples. Who's next after the police chief? I think there's like 1 or 2 more.
Our
Isn't
final one
Pluto.
is Pluto.
no,
Yeah.
Pluto is our
Pluto?
last
Okay.
one.
He
He was the architect of minimalistic
yes, he is the
homes.
architect.
there? Oh yeah. And he's like,
And I thought his scenes were the funniest.
Yeah, he had all the
somehow.
kids dressed up as Mickey
I think it was
Mouse.
just the way.
yeah,
Yes.
and he was like, I'm gonna make everybody's like, people love their homes, but make them love a shelter, and you can make tons of money. And I'm like, you know what? That's pretty smart. I bet there's tons of people in business right now that are saying that exact same thing.
Yeah, and it's literally
That was
like,
one that
talking
made
about
me
how
think.
It's like the Tesla
Literally,
homes.
that's literally what it is. It's like everyone will learn to love work. Work will be where they do everything. They're just gonna, all they're gonna do is just sleep, shit, and piss in this place, and they'll learn to eat at work. They'll learn to find their entertainment at work. Like everything in their life will be work. And I thought that was also really interesting. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, and then after we get, well, let's backtrack a little bit because we didn't talk about him. There's the doo-doo scene in the movie where he.
Oh yes, I actually.
Oh.
Okay, yes.
Yes. Okay. So I think what I got. Okay. I don't mean to interrupt here, but
Go ahead, take it away.
for the
this
for
all
the
you,
doo-doo
bro.
scene, I think that was almost like he was the whole point was he was like becoming pure. He was shedding his impurities,
Yeah.
and it was almost akin like the gold that he desired. Like that was the reason he went to the temple, right? He saw that like bag of gold on the hook. Like the gold he desired was like the equivalent of shit, like his own human shit. And he was like, "You're gonna get gassed with your shit, and that's how you're gonna become purified." Which that whole scene was just fucking crazy. One of the and I didn't even.
Jenkum.
That goes to show you how.
But didn't the alchemist like say that he basically was shit, but through enlightenment he could become
Yes,
gold?
yes.
That was like.
He doesn't need to seek gold
Yeah.
because he can become.
Which
gold.
I think
Man, if
that
I
line
was in a gas chamber,
has a big bit at the end of the film.
Yes.
I think that line's very important for the end of the movie. But
yeah.
yeah.
Then they go.
Well,
are we gonna?
What about the blue goo that gets taken out of his body that gets put in the heart box in like the
Oh
thing?
yeah.
Like what does that represent, Braxton?
It represents. something.
I'm gonna be honest. There's quite a few parts of this movie where I'm like, that might represent Anyway, moving on
'Cause I
with the
couldn't tell
video. Our disciples and our hero continue their journey to
yeah.
to Lotus Island, where they are going to surmount the holy mountain. The disciples and the thief have gathered together. The alchemist has them. They have this whole scene where they have all the plastic cutouts of them. This brings back that plastic mold when the Roman guards drug the thief. And they put it in a pit and they burn it, which, by the way, I was thinking for that scene, what did they do with that? Was that like just a completely concrete set? Because they had like a big ass bonfire going. Like if that was just, what did they do for that?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I thought that was cool though. I did think that was.
I would be interested in looking at the behind the scenes production of the film.
I would too.
Yeah. I would like to know if the director is like a mentally sane person.
I think he has a lot of movies like this. Apparently, I was looking at some of them, which I do want to watch some more of his movies.
I think there's El Topo is one of them.
Yes,
and then there's
El
like
Topo.
another one, and then I think he does actually a lot of comic books
He does.
because I have been very interested in reading the Inkle by him, the Inkal or however you say it, because that's often described as almost like the Dune of like sci-fi comic books, where it's just crazy, absurd, psychedelic, and like really interesting. And that's one I've been wanting to read. For
I
a
can
bit,
imagine
but I
that would be
haven't delved
good.
into. I'm more interested in that than I am rewatching this because I feel like, him actually, having more time to kind of deliver basic story would be more interesting to me than the whole thing being a lot of symbolism.
He's definitely a very surrealist director. I think that's like his style is surrealism and absurdism, which I definitely appreciated. I think that like it's definitely not for everybody. Like this is a
different.
movie, yeah, it's different. Like for anybody listening or watching at home, this is a movie if you're into that kind of thing, a very surrealist piece of film or something with a lot of just the overall like set, costume design, everything like that. Like you can appreciate something like that, and you can appreciate something really let's just keeping it basic, not really making a lick of sense, then I highly recommend this movie.
Yeah.
I think you'd enjoy it quite a bit. But to the casual viewer,
watch
Vengeance
the
Most
Parallax
Fowl was
View.
really good. So I definitely recommend you go check out Walzer.
Go watch The Life
The
of
Life
Pi,
of
bro.
Pi.
If you're the casual viewer, go watch The
Holy
Life
Mountain,
of Pi.
not for everybody, not for the faint of heart.
Not for me. But continue.
Yeah, so we get to Lotus Island where they're about to start their journey, and we're introduced to this other character. It's just the fucking German guy with the big ass glass of wine. He's like, "Hey guys, welcome to Lotus Island. We've been waiting for you, man." And he's just fucking drinking up a bunch, and then he takes them.
He's like, because didn't he say like there were a bunch of people that tried to climb it before, but his Pantheon bar or whatever had the best beer, and so they all stayed.
And we skipped over the guy with the nubs that was a hallucination the whole time, and then the guy had to throw him overboard.
No, that happens later.
Oh, okay.
No, that happens. I
thought that happens before.
Does that happen before?
Because that's on their way to Lotus Island.
Yeah, it's before they get on the
island.
Oh
shit! Yeah, we did completely cut that out.
Like, there's a monster.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I completely cut out a good portion of it. So they get to this place, and they have to have like this seance sort of thing where they're talking about like what they are, and it's a whole like spiritual message about like, you're the dog, and the dog searches for the flower because for the flower holds like the truth of life, and it holds.
Yeah, I didn't get none of that. Just seemed like he smoked. Yeah, he just smoked a ton of weed and then wrote that. I don't know what that represents.
Well, okay. Before they had that whole seance thing, they had to drink like this like green ice stuff, and I'm like 90% sure that's the what's it called in Hawaii that they drink? That's basically like a drug.
Oh shit.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Jack Daniels.
I gotta think of what it's called.
I've never heard of
it. It's kava. It's kava.
Okay.
Kava, yes. Because like, it could have been something like that, like a kava kind of thing before they did that. Because they were tripping.
They were tripping hard. Yeah. They saw the dog, and they're like, "We are the dog. We all are the dog."
Yeah, and then like everything around them was like heightened, where like I don't know, like a boulder, like not a boulder, it was like a rock
all their senses.
And then there was like an explosion.
You could hear these things.
A dog was running, and it sounded like a horse. It was just like I would be tweaking out in that situation.
Like four of them have to come accept death because death is taking over, and they have to accept that, and that's how they can truly become reborn. They have this whole like group therapy cry session before they're reborn, and then they shave off all their hair, and it's a crazy movie.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But I think that kind of leads up to where they're like coming up the mountain then, right?
Yes, now we're leading up to them on the boat where we see our no-limbed friend once again. He's just on the boat somehow. They have this like, they all surround the thief. And it's like he gave birth to the little fucking his friend again. He like crawls out of like the mass of all the disciples surrounding them. And then the thief is just so happy to see these guys. He's like, "Fuck yeah, my homeboy's here. We're ready to go." And the alchemist is like, "Dude, you gotta throw him overboard, man. Like, all right, we gotta take this shit seriously. Go. He is not coming with." And he's like, he can't swim. And then we're seeing that like he's still tripping or something because he doesn't really have him in his arms. He's not actually there.
Yeah.
So he throws this, I guess, not figurative. What's the word I'm looking for?
You could call it figurative.
I guess I could call it figurative. Well, we'll just say figurative now. Yeah. Figurative depiction of his friend overboard, casting away his earthly, the things that bound him, his friendships.
The alchemist called him like a monster.
He did. He called him a monster.
So that's what I don't understand.
It was the embodiment of all his selfish desires. Something like that.
Okay.
Oh, I wonder at the beginning of the movie, that's why he's like guiding him at the very beginning, the guy with no limbs. He's like...
That probably is exactly what it is. Like he's guiding him, and then the alchemist is like, "You don't need all this. All of this debauchery."
Yeah. I wonder...
I see. That makes sense.
You know what? If I rewatch this movie in the next few years, I'll try to keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I want to talk about the
bar.
Okay.
When they get to the island, because that was
so they're at this bar, and this bar, by the way, is in a fucking graveyard. Like they are just having the party of their lives in this, I'm sure, very real graveyard they filmed at. Like just all sorts of wild characters drinking, doing drugs, and there's just a bunch of shit. And I've been talking a lot right now, so I'll let y'all take this one away.
So I think basically everybody that they pass, I don't know if they're looking for somebody to like help them or anything, because they stop by a lot of people and basically all they have to say is just a bunch of nothing that's going to help them. It's like, yeah, basically our enlightenment is doing this LSD, baby, and you should do some too. And then they're like, oh, well, fuck you, and then they walk off. But there's like a bunch of people like that. The funniest one, I brought this up to Jackson, he didn't remember, but do you remember the guy that could like
yes, I do.
Things?
I don't remember.
Where he could only go horizontal.
That was so
and he was like,
funny,
oh, I could,
because he hugs a wall. He's like, I can come with you guys.
I can do anything.
And he like he clips through the wall, and then he clips back, and he's like, I just went to the peak of the mountain. They're like, not the peak of the mountain. He's like, I just went through the whole mountain. They're like, wait, really? You went to the top? And he's like, no, only horizontally. And then they like ignore him.
Yeah, they just ignore him, and his dude's just so
him.
like, I can only go horizontally, but like, I'm still the shit, dude.
He's
like,
so,
it was just.
I conquered the mountain.
Did that, dude?
Yeah, I thought that was so
I really
funny.
liked that.
I thought it was so
That was
funny.
another instance of.
It's like that scene in Suicide Squad. The guy that can climb anything and he gets his head blown off. Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
I like those
I
little
don't
bits
remember
of
any of
humor
this
in the movie.
happening.
Did you?
I don't remember any of that.
You missed some beak, dude.
So basically, right after they leave that bar, they take they start to make the climb.
Yeah.
And while they take the climb, they all, each and every one of them has their own like vision that like represents their their fear and stuff like that. And I don't remember the characters by name, but there were so many visions. The only one I remember was the police chief guy.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember. And I only remember his because it was my least favorite, and I hated it with like everything in my heart. But his vision, he's like beating on a drum, and they have like just two dogs fighting, and those dogs are fighting. Those dogs are for real.
Yeah,
fighting.
I was kind of
Like,
thinking during the movie, like I couldn't tell if they were actually like the dogs were like really fighting or not, because they could just be playing and they could have put like fake blood on them. But there's a part of me, I mean, because some dogs do play like that. They are a little aggressive, but this one definitely seemed like
those dogs were trying to kill.
They were
each
fighting.
other.
So yeah, it's kind of an example of why some things are better left in the past in terms of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Especially in terms of animal usage in film.
That part in particular.
This is kind of the
this
is one of the things you notice a lot when looking at older films. A lot of things do not hold up to today's standards, and a lot of things are better left in the past. And I think the treatment of animals on set, definitely, and especially for this movie, I think.
Because when we were talking about the toads, I brought up something about like there was another scene that did not make me happy, and that was the scene of the dogs fighting. Because there's like one part where like the dog. Oh God, I'm remembering another scene. Who was the like tan chick? She was the like cosmetician.
No, I think was she the weapons dealer?
With the cows having sex.
Yeah, there's like there's cows that just fuck during this movie.
I was eating.
Oh, that was
food.
bad. Why would you
movie?
eat food after all that you've ever seen?
Well, listen, I had like 40 minutes left in the movie. I had a delicious burger. I was sitting there and I was just eating it, and I was having such a great time. And then I saw cow dick, and I literally like had to shut my eyes just like every couple seconds while eating the burger just to make sure I didn't see cow dick. And then what? There was another one. I don't remember.
The guy that got his balls
like,
cut off and he got like thrown on the top of the thing or whatever.
Yeah, and
I think it was his penis.
It was the one that had the dude chick with like cheetah boobs and was shooting milk.
Yeah, that one was great. There's so many. The one that I particularly noticed the most was the I think it wasn't Pluto. I think it was Venus, but the guy that's laying down with the tarantulas all over him. And it's not like, these are live tarantulas, by the way. And it's not just like a couple, like this is like 30 fucking tarantulas walking around over them. And it's like, they're not on his head up until the scene cuts. And it's like the director was like, yeah, we need to get a few on his face. Because then there's these tarantulas just walking all over his face. And you can see the genuine terror in this dude's eyes as he's screaming like, dude, no amount of fucking money you could pay me to do that with the tarantulas walking all over him. That was what got me. I think the cows fucking...
tarantulas are pretty chill,
the cows
though.
fucking jackass prepared me for. But the the tarantulas, I don't know, dude. I don't know if like tarantulas are pretty chill, but that scene in particular, I was like, oh my god, the dedication.
I don't remember much of anything else. Oh, there was one thing we skipped. Didn't one of the guys, didn't they die?
Yeah.
And they said
well,
that
I think
he
that's
drowned?
later. Oh no, that was
Which one
before.
was
You're
that?
right.
I don't.
Yeah, which
So
one was
I
that?
was thinking about it. I don't think that was any of them because
Was it the mattress
no, because
guy?
they were all still there. Because it's 9 of them counting the thief, and I was counting the disciples, and I was keeping track of the number of them, and it was still like, I don't know. Maybe he did die. Maybe I was counting the alchemist too. I don't fucking know. Maybe I'm tripping, but I think that I don't know if he actually
I don't
did
know.
die. I think it was like a symbolism because they were all looking at like. They were looking in the reflection.
They're
They're like,
like,
oh,
oh,
yeah, that guy
uh-huh.
drowned. That guy drowned. So it's like maybe they're saying like their selves drowned while they were on the way there.
That's true. That's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been it.
Drowning
Yeah.
their mortal wants.
Maybe I took it too literally.
Yeah, but anyway, as we get to the climax of the movie, and by the way, this is a big spoilers, like really big spoilers for like the entire point of the movie.
I
so-
really do. I want to say that as someone who's been more harsher on the film, I do think if you like weird artsy fartsy movies like this, you would enjoy The Holy Mountain as much as I have not really enjoyed a lot of it. And I do think that the ending really did fix a lot of the problems I had with the movie.
There's
I really liked the
Yeah,
ending, and I
I
wouldn't
agree.
want it spoiled.
Yes, I definitely
So-
recommend if you are
Yeah.
going to watch it blind. Do not know the ending beforehand, or do not spoil yourself. And I do, if you're into this kind of film, I highly recommend it. I think it's something that anyone who is aspiring to get into the meaning of a film should definitely take a shot at. I think that it's definitely worth your time. And yeah, into spoilers, you have been warned. But basically, we get to basically the summit of the mountain. We are at the point to where we can see the immortals at the table. We've only seen pictures of them, but we can see them in their white cloaks sitting around the table. And the alchemist turns to the thief and basically just tells him, you don't need to do all this. You don't need to go achieve enlightenment, man. I mean, this lady from the village, which by the way, they pass by this village on the way here. That's the only time we really see this lady, and she follows them up the mountain.
Well, what I did notice was
And her pet monkey.
like a
Her
scene
pet monkey,
earlier
she
in
does
the-
have a
yeah,
pet monkey,
she has a
and
pet
the monkey's
monkey.
pretty cool.
Because don't they walk by each other like in the beginning of the
Yes.
film? When
Yes,
he's
they do,
carrying his
actually.
little- his
Yes,
little
they
chicken
do.
nugget
Yes,
friend?
they do.
So yeah, she's been kind of following him like the whole.
Yeah, because
movie,
isn't she
so
also
she
there before they get on the boat?
Yes, she is actually. Okay,
Yeah,
well then
she
I'm
is.
Yeah.
fucking wrong. Don't listen to me. But yeah, she totally is. So she follows him throughout the movie. Like she's kind of like a background character that's following along. But she has this pet monkey. Which speaking of the pet monkey, there's a scene where they're all meditating
so
and the
chill.
monkey is sitting in perfect meditation position. Like he is sitting there so chilled out. Like this
Locked
monkey
in.
is locked the fuck in. But yeah, so. The alchemist is like, you don't need all this. You don't need this enlightenment thing. Enjoy your life with this woman. Spend your time with them. And your enlightenment is love. And he
I
goes
think.
off, and the alchemist, he goes to follow him before he goes up with the disciples, right? When he goes up with the disciples is the last scene in
Yes.
the movie. Yeah, so he goes to follow
Yes.
him. And then the alchemist is like, you know what? Kill me with this big ass, cool ass sword. And he pulls out this giant fucking scimitar almost.
Uh-huh.
It is like this
Yeah.
sick ass giant crescent moon blade, like the
It's
biggest
super
sword
cool.
ever. And the thief takes it, and the alchemist is like, cut off my head. And then he brings the sword down. You see that he's like cut this fake goat's head off. And the alchemist just sits there laughing, and then goes up to with the disciples, which I did not really catch the symbolism in that. In all honesty,
I didn't either.
I don't want to bullshit my way.
I
through
think it was definitely supposed to be a real goat, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it definitely was supposed to be a real goat. Like, of course, in the film, but I
get
don't
what you're
think it
saying.
was an actual
Yeah,
real
yeah.
goat that they killed.
No,
Well, is it
yeah. I know
like
what
in
you're
the
saying.
Bible? Is it no? That's a lamb. I'm thinking of.
It could be a
But
lamb. It might have been
it
a
might
lamb.
I was thinking.
It
I
might
was
have been
thinking
a
of the
lamb.
symbolism in I think it's is it Isaac? The
Binding of
no
Isaac?
no. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
It's Abraham and Isaac where he's going up to kill his son, but like he can't break it to his son that he's gonna kill him, and then like it was all a trial and tribulation so that God would like give him the lamb at like the last second so that he could spare his son to show his devotion to God. Like I think
That
that's
actually
what
is a
it's referencing?
great. Now that you're saying that, that actually really makes sense, and that might actually be what it is. Great fucking.
I could see, and also they went up a mountain too.
They
in
did
that
go up
story.
a mountain. That is a great, good little thing to notice. Look at us.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
picking apart the symbolism,
Okay.
understanding it.
Wow.
Look at this podcast. Maybe you might have learned something
We're
about
smart.
the movie. We're smart.
Yep.
We're figuring things out. But yeah, as this movie closes, the alchemist goes up to the table of the immortals. They're all sitting there. It's the climax of the movie. The disciples are finally ready to come and meet them. And as they get to the table, they reach on the disciples' shoulders, pull them out, and they all turn out to just be dolls. They're mannequins sitting there at the table until they take one of their hoods off, and it's the alchemist sitting there laughing. The alchemist is sitting there laughing. The disciples are
it's
all
so
laughing
funny.
together. They're all having a good time. And then the alchemist talks to them a little bit about enlightenment, looks at the camera and says, "Camera, zoom out." And then the set is revealed. We see all the film cameras surrounding, the lights, the camera crew, which, by the way, this was a pretty fucking crazy reveal to me. Like, a lot of movies do this.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah, I had no idea this was going to
Yeah.
happen. So when he did that, and also, by the way, the alchemist is played by the director,
Yep.
which I did not know. So that was
Oh.
that also made
I
it,
saw
like,
that after the
I didn't know
movie.
that
Yep.
either.
that made it hit a lot more. But the alchemist basically gives a speech, which is along the lines of, why are you trying to seek enlightenment in something like a film? To achieve enlightenment, we have to go to the real world. We have to get out of this film, away from this crew. We have to go experience life. And so the
Elephant
disciples are
Eva.
like, yeah. And then they dip, and that's where the movie ends. And
Yeah.
I really, really like the ending, and I think it's what solidifies this movie to me personally as a really fantastic, great movie. I think to me, the whole message was almost like, you shouldn't try to find enlightenment in a film like this, or like don't find enlightenment in like some type of film or other type of preconceived notions or narratives. Find it on your own by just experiencing life. It's literally the first touch grass movie ever. Like, it's literally the first movie to tell the audience, go touch
Yeah.
grass. And I think that's what really brings back, because I started thinking about the older scenes, and I started realizing that a lot of it is as absurd as possible to almost make fun of the idea of like enlightenment that like a lot of people like try to tout, or like all these like bizarre ideas and bizarre paths to achieve it, or like bizarre like artsy films or whatever that try to have something to say. Like, I think a lot of it was like almost like a satire, and I started to appreciate that. Like, I could definitely tell, because a lot of those scenes are like, you know, they're as absurd as possible to almost be funny. Like, each disciple scene was just crazier and crazier. You mentioned it, the whole fucking sex art library, where it's like all the bodies painted, and it's just like lit, and they have the sex machine.
Fingering their
they
booty
like have the
holes.
booty holes that like you can interact with and finger. Like, it's just crazy. But I really like that. I really thought it was a pretty cool message at the end, a good way to tie it all together, and something I did not expect at all. And I think that's because, like, up until that point, I was really like, okay, like, I do like it, but like, I still don't know what the fuck we're going for. And that was when I was like, oh, I understand it now. I get it now.
And that's when I was like, you know what? I was kind of on this, but I think overall I'm pretty positive on it now. After that ending, and after our discussion, I think we might have raised up by a point.
I think that there's a lot to like about it, and I definitely appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this, because I know this is not your type of movie.
Yeah.
And I appreciate y'all giving it a fair chance
Yeah.
and everything, because I really do think that there's a lot to like about movies like this, specifically from this era. A lot of filmmakers were taking risks then because they had the opportunity to. Films where there was a lot less censorship back during this time.
Yeah.
It was a time where you could really express these I guess I'm looking for a better word. More I guess insane, yeah, for lack of a better term, insane messages. You could just like really just you can just go balls to the wall and make whatever you wanted. You can comment on whatever you wanted. This is where like a lot of like socio-political commentary comes from, that is like a lot more, hate to use the term, but based than you would see in a lot of like modern filmmaking, in terms of just, really being anti-establishment, really being anti the common norm. And I think that this is a film that takes that risk, and I really cannot believe this was in theaters. Like, I really am just shocked that this played in theaters. Like,
I don't know what the fucking people were, the producers were on signing this one off, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I personally, I really liked it. But I will say again, I think it's definitely to note. There's a lot of stuff that has not aged well in this movie, as with all film, and I definitely think that you should, watch it with from the lens of I don't know. I think you can still enjoy something while still realizing, it's good we left this in 1973. It's good that this did not come to 2025. You know what I mean? Like we don't need real dogs fighting while our police chief is howling, beating on his armor. We don't need the frog temple exploding with the real frogs on it. Like some of that stuff's just not necessary.
Yeah.
And
well, to counter that point, how do you feel about the real rats being used in Nosferatu?
I did not know they used real rats in Nosferatu.
Yeah.
You know what? I bet you they probably had a lot of nowadays they have a lot of laws and they have a lot of supervision. They have literal entire staff departments for like animal rights on set to make sure the animals are good, to make sure they're safe, to make sure they're not going to get hurt. So I'm sure with as a high and big of a budget movie as that was, that the rats were okay. Now this might be my ignorance. There might be something that might have come up that the rats were mistreated on the Nosferatu set. They're going on strike. Rats on strike. No more rats in movies.
The rats are going on strike.
Their wages and their hours were unfair. But till that comes up, I think that I hope the rats were treated well, and I think that's pretty cool that they used real rats. Yeah. I always think reality in film is the best. It's the best thing to use. It engages the audience more, and I will always appreciate it over CGI because I feel like there's a certain level of work and effort to really create just a, give you an experience.
I miss a lot of like practical effects. Yes, and
another thing about this movie, very practical effect driven movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess before the episode, before we get to ratings and we close out the episode, I want to give my kind of interpretation of the ending.
Yeah, I talked a fuck done, so y'all go ahead.
I saw it more as kind of like, so at the end, he kind of gets all of these people in power, right? Like some of the most important people in the entire like galaxy, basically.
Yeah.
And he kind of makes them shed all of their worth, like their earthly worth, and kind of makes them like through this path of enlightenment rethink, who they are. And I don't know. I really like that as
I get what
as
you're
kind
saying.
of like, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of repeating a lot of what you said.
No, I think that I understand what you're saying.
The tears that they shed when they went through
that was
their
something
death
we did not talk about.
Seemed very real. The laughs that they shared when they went to the table and the alchemist was making faces and giggling and stuff. Those were real laughs. It almost seemed like, even though that they're giving everything behind, they're still.
It brought a level of humanity to the characters that we had not seen yet. It's like they gained humanity, and that was almost like the message of the film, like shedding all these earthly things, this lust, gluttony, greed, all the things.
I was going to mention that too. I don't know how familiar you are with Dante's Inferno, but there's 9 of them, 9 layers of Dante's Inferno. I don't know.
I think that's definitely was a part of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Dante's Inferno. I played the game, and I played Ultra Kill, so that's my extent of knowledge of Dante's Inferno. And I know there's like some things like lust and greed and gluttony and stuff, but I think those also overlap with the 7 deadly sins as well.
I mean, I could list them, but I don't know who we would put them with.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a...
Yeah, there's a lot of them that revolve around lust and a lot of them that revolve around,
Anger is definitely the police officer. I can say that for
Anger
sure.
was me watching the movie.
I was just confused because I didn't have such a impactful realization at the end. I was like having a what the fuck? Because I was not expecting him to break the fourth wall. I thought it was insanely cool. And it's not what I was expecting. What I was expecting, especially since he sent the thief away, I was expecting this dude to bring these people to the table. Especially especially when he was laughing and they were laughing back and stuff. He was he had a gesture he was kind of making fun of them. And I was expecting him to be like, yeah, none of this matters, and then an explosion goes off, and that would have been fitting for me as well. Like I would.
Yeah, I think there was definitely an aspect of that in the film that like none of it literally none of it mattered.
Yeah,
like one of my favorite films.
but
we'll get into that later. That'll be an
E.T. the
recommendation
Killer?
much later, but keep this in mind. This is Goda level foreshadowing here.
Coda level foreshadowing.
Coda level.
Yeah.
Y'all aren't ready for this to come up in episode 123.
43, yeah.
We're so in there.
But yeah, are we ready to move on to ratings? I think.
I think
Yeah,
so.
right.
Yeah. Holy Mountain
All right, you
ratings.
kick it off, Braxton.
I personally am going to give it a 9 out of 10. I know that's pretty high. I really liked the movie. I really liked the message. I really liked the ending. I think without the ending, it might have been like maybe 1 or 2 points lower because I just feel like all of it wouldn't have made sense. But I think the entire point of it was none of it really is supposed to make sense. It's supposed to be absurd. And
Yeah.
really what you get out of enlightenment is truly what you gain out of it in your real life experiences. And I like the idea of the director literally telling you, just go outside, man, experience your own life. And that's how you can truly find enlightenment. Don't look through for it in media or other kind of like physical.
You ain't gonna find it in the
You're not
Holy
gonna find
Mountain.
it in the
bro.
Holy Mountain.
You
You're
ain't.
not gonna find it in my movie. It almost calls his movie pretentious in and of itself. And I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool, and I thought a lot of the just the shot direction, the scenes in general, everything. We talked about the tower, the whole like
Yeah.
rainbow setup, like the colors changing as he's walking towards them. The lighting in the movie I really liked. There's so much to love about this movie, and there's so much to really enjoy. Now, it's definitely not something that I'm going to be like, Holy Mountain comfort movie. This is my 4th Holy Mountain rewatch of the year. You know, really enjoyed it. Like, no, this is definitely not something I'm going to rewatch for a while, but definitely
Yeah.
something I enjoyed, and definitely something that made me inspired to check out some of his other work, which I think I'm going to do soon.
I might.
But yeah, I'll hand it over to y'all. What are y'all's ratings for it?
All right. I guess I'll go next. I think
go.
I'm gonna give it a solid 7 out of 10. I was thinking a 6, but I'm thinking a 7 on this one. I don't know. Just the conversation and everything that's brought up has been really interesting and entertaining, and I've really enjoyed kind of thinking about it more the more I've let it sit. But I think one of the big reasons this kind of didn't hit me as hard, I think, is because I kind of had that sort of realization with another piece of media that's kind of very similar to this, but in a way that I find a lot more entertaining to my taste, with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah,
And the whole like ending of that book with like the whole, you know, meaning of life and everything trying to be decided by this machine, and then the characters kind of have to make up their own what really matters in life kind of moment. But that's more of like it fits more my kind of deal of like a dumb comedy thing with this really impactful ending than this hit me. I did enjoy it overall though, so I think I'm gonna stick with that 7 out of 10.
Okay. Shoot.
He's gonna hate it. He's gonna say 4.
I think no. Well, first when I first watched it, I was thinking like a 6. But we've had some good conversations, and honestly, I didn't hate the movie. I was having like odd fun with it in like a very very
I would
weird
agree.
way.
I would agree 100%.
There were moments in there that like actually made me laugh for no reason, and I enjoyed it. I'm probably gonna give it a 7 out of 10 as well. I'd probably like it on rewatch a lot more, but I don't think that's gonna happen for a while, because this isn't exactly a movie you're in a mood to watch. You just watch
Yeah,
it. You know?
no.
Yeah.
This is a lot in a movie, but I definitely respect that, and I definitely agree. I think the absurdity of it was really fun. You just kind of find yourself laughing at just how batshit crazy some of the movie is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of when you're it's like being strapped in a roller coaster where at like some point you can't sit there and be like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
you just gotta have to have
You
fun
just kind of
with
have to
it.
be like, okay, what's gonna happen next? And it's just like, okay, those are
Yeah,
cows
okay, the
having
cows
are
sex.
clucking.
Okay, and it's just like it's just like it's moments like that. Yeah, that's why I'm gonna give it a solid 7. I was kind of thinking an 8, but I think I'm gonna give it a 7.
little too much dip on your chip.
A little too much dip on my
Fair enough.
chip.
I respect it.
Because if I said an 8, I don't think I could like back up that
Yeah,
opinion.
you
That's
can't
fair,
because
that's
it'd be a
fair.
war.
Well, I did give it
Yeah.
a 9.
Would it be a
Yeah,
war?
Captain America: Civil War.
Well, if you gave it an 8, we'd have a
Captain
7,
America
8,
Civil
9.
War.
Yeah,
So this has me thinking.
about raising it to an
Is
8.
Ichi the Killer better?
Oh, this is actually a debate because I do not.
You know
think so.
what? I think I like Ichi the Killer more.
Oh, these are some.
Or no, wait, I messed it up. I meant less.
Okay, good. I was about to say.
Okay. I think I like Ichi the Killer more.
Well, you the one in a million, bro.
That's just because I like the dude. I just like
like him?
I just like that dude. I like
You
him.
recommend that, and I got to rewatch that crap again, Blaine. There's gonna be real beef on the podcast.
I'm not
The
recommending Ichi the
rewatch
Killer.
is
Okay, I'm
crazy,
not.
dude. I don't know if I want to do an Ichi the Killer
I
rewatch.
watched it. How many times did I
3
watch that
times,
shit?
you
I probably
fucking
watched it 3
psycho.
times.
Watched it in VC.
In like a
month.
Watched it yourself. Watched it with
In
me.
a month,
Rewatched
yeah.
it on your own halfway through.
Yeah, I did watch it 3 times.
You're sick,
yeah.
man.
It's the fucking Captain Marvel image of this guy saw Captain Marvel 39 times. This guy saw Ichi the Killer 3 times.
Listen, man, I'm just like crazy like him, you know, like
Yeah,
I'm
we
just
know.
a masochist.
Guys,
I'm just so
Blaine
crazy,
does not mean
you
he
know.
is anything like the characters from Ichi the Killer. Please do not take
No,
this
that's
out of
exactly
context.
what it means. I've seen him do some crazy stuff behind
Yeah,
behind that,
yeah,
that
man.
theater, bro.
Oh, God.
You don't want to know what happened to those
Behind
people
the
talking during
scenes?
Nosferatu. You
Oh,
don't want to know.
God. Oh, no.
Oh yeah, it was rough, man. I took him. I drugged them, took them to my my torture chamber. Oh, it was crazy, man. It was a lot.
Yeah, well, are we ready to move on to recommendations? Close out the podcast?
Okay, yeah.
All right, so I guess shoot yours first before I shoot my 2.
Yeah, 1 second. I just have to get the director name so that I don't. Okay, almost like impulse like recommended another movie,
Oh, no.
but I'm not gonna do it. I am going to recommend The Wolf of Wall Street by Martin Scorsese.
All right.
Do you want to know what I almost recommended?
Dougal.
Horns.
What?
Horns.
I don't know what that is.
That's the Harry Potter actor in it.
Horn?
Oh
think
shit!
you
There's
told
no
me
way.
about
No,
this.
I know what you're talking about. This is the fucking
Oh
no
no!
horns.
I saw it on my watch list and I almost said it. I
no.
almost.
You guys should do
It's
that. I
okay.
think that would make
That-
for great discussion.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch that episode.
Watch out
All right.
for the next episode. It could be up.
The
It could
horns
be
All
there.
right. So I'm just
Who knows?
I'm gonna let the viewers know ahead of time for my 2 recommendations. You better have a lot of time open in your week or your 2 weeks you got, and you better space these out well because we got like 3 3-hour movies. It's looking like. So, my first recommendation is going to be Brazil by Terry Gilliam. I have seen this film before, and I think you're going to like this one a lot. It's
Well, what part of it?
it's just called
Just sell it to me.
1984 kind of dystopian story, but it's like in a dream thingy. There's like some dream elements as well, and it's like a dark comedy
Okay.
kind of. I like it a lot.
I think I'll
Ooh,
like
And
I'm
then-
actually- I'm putting this on the watch list.
For the movie I haven't seen, Andrei Rublev, directed by Andrei Tarkovsky, one of my favorite directors, Russian director. And this is a period piece about a 15th century Russian iconographer. And that's all I know. So
What is that?
I'm assuming like some kind of painter, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I should have recommended Horns.
Hmm.
I'm no, it's okay. I'm not gonna change. I'm not
So
gonna
you
change.
got 2 weeks to
Um,
watch 3 3-hour movies.
I got
So-
time.
Man, am
just-
I
just
excited
your
to
little-
watch all those movies and tune into next week's episode to watch Blaine and
There you
Jackson
go. You
tackle
were-
those films.
You were a great guest, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have you on in a future episode for sure.
Hopefully I get invited.
fun.
Hopefully I get invited again so I can
Jesus.
recommend some more freak shit to force Blaine and Jackson to watch.
Yeah, sure. Bring it on.
I'm recommending Ichi.
We're gonna have the freak episode, and we're just gonna have fucking pink flamingos, Ichi the Killer,
Oh no.
Sallow. Oh, we're going.
yes.
We're going.
Oh,
deep
Sallow.
rabbit hole.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
The freak episode.
Oh,
Tune in
yes.
for that one.
The freak episode.
We're licking the wall. This shit is
We're
getting
climbing
crazy.
on
This
them.
is not going to YouTube.
We're
We're making a
getting
Patreon page
crazy.
for this one. Gonna have to only be able to check it out there. Like, oh, it's getting.
I like the scene where they was killing
killing
and
it.
murdering
They was
people.
killing, and that's all fucked up and evil.
And another word and some bad
A lot
things.
of
Yeah,
fucked up things
I'll
happen in
just
this movie.
I'll just recommend funny games for that episode.
Oh God, no,
No.
no,
Yeah. No, we're
I
not
don't
having a
wanna
freak
rewatch
episode
funny
again.
games. No,
Cancel
fine,
it.
we're canceling the
Cancel
episode.
it.
All right, podcast is over.
Canceling
Thank
the
you guys
episode.
so much for having me. It's been a joy to be here, and I look forward to when I can join you guys again.
Yep. Thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.